I think we might just be live.
We're live now, are we?
It says live. It's got a yes, we're live.
Hallelujah. Holy shit.
So, with the second session of the Yesrallaw Odyssey, or as it is now apparently known, the Yeehaw Odyssey, coming into beginning. What does everybody remember of the previous session?
Less than I should. I actually had to rewatch it because
Theo murdered someone.
I could not remember. I couldn't remember much getting past actually out of the pub. But I seem to have more gold than I thought. Yes, I have more gold than I remembered having, and then played it back and was like, oh god, I was embarrassing as fuck. So I'm not drinking anything like as much as I drank last time. I'm just saying that now.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
and
no.
What of you, Kiki? What do you remember of the previous week's shenanigans?
We went to a bar. We had a lot to drink. I threw a spear.
Yeah. Is that everything?
There was also the part where we went to the city and we tried to get Theo. Tried to get Grigore fucked for wearing dragon.
Oh my god! Yes, you murdered someone, and
yes,
we
and
did
then and then he just murdered some random poor guy that was knocked out on the floor.
Yes, he murdered someone.
I'm going to
murdered someone and then gone.
I'm going to give us all quite a comprehensive recap, so refresh everyone's memories now. The session started off with Kiki's character Grace having walked down the path to a roadside inn, walking in on a trio of a human, a dwarf, and an elf, all enjoying some drink within each other's company. Revelries were had, stomach contents were thrown, and much drinking was drunk. The night afterwards, well, the morning afterwards, I should say, with the party having come to, was spent walking over to the Dragonborn city of Verdenfeld. The location, which is known for being a kind of Chinatown-esque location, consisting of a cultural enclave of the Dragonborn within the human empire of Stradivania. The party, looking upon this hill from a distance, decided that instead of walking in through the route that would take them close to the harbour, they would instead walk in through the route that would take them closer to the more civilian area, the area of the city which was more suited towards long-term habitation rather than the construction and running of businesses. In either case, they went in, not before having Grigori, the elven man wearing a set of leather armor constructed from the hide of a black dragonborn, was properly disguised so as to conceal the true nature of his equipment. With all of this having come to take place, the party managed to make their way into the city, meet up with a Dragonborn who was in charge of running a local warehouse for the mass redistribution of various goods and wares to other smaller locations. Trey was able to strike up a conversation with the owner and negotiated for himself in his drunken haze not only the sale of what remained of his mead and wine, but was also able to figure out that due to this now friendly relationship, was able to get free lodgings for his horse and cart at a nearby stable. Kiki broke someone's hand in an arm wrestling competition. Theo decided to walk down an alleyway and
wait. She also fixed the hand.
She also fixed the hand, yes, but that's not important. Theo walked down a random alleyway upon trying to ask a woman where he could take a shit, whilst actually trying to ask a completely different question in Thieves' Cant. and ended up stumbling into the ne'er-do-well that is CD, the druid played by Chase. A druid who was standing over the bloodied, unmoving body of a dragonborn god. Theo, deciding, oh well, might as well finish the job, decided to run his spear-like knife into the windpipe of the apparently nearly unconscious dragonborn god, thus thoroughly ending him, thus achieving the party's first kill. Upon kicking said body down into the sewers, where a series of pestilence-carrying entities, shall we say, decided to finish off cleaning up. The party, I will describe them as needs be, Chase. But in either case, Chase and Theo, with their respective characters of Grigori and CD, decided to have a little conversation as to what precisely would be happening next, which is where we pick up the session. CD and Grigori, the pair of you are now walking through the crowded streets of Verdenfeld. The Dragonborn stumble around in packed crowds, attempting to make their way to accomplish whatever business they have for the day. Most people are ignoring you. You occasionally see the odd eye, as whilst humans are not particularly common within the city, they are known to exist. And as such, you find yourselves enjoying the anonymity of the crowds. Please, discuss what you wish to discuss.
So, what's a guy like you doing in here?
I have been escorting carts with a group, and I decided to go off on my own for a bit and see a bit more of this town, which is when I stumbled upon you and our common issue.
And CD looks you down. That's some nice armor you have there.
Thank you.
That's a very... you see, I know 3 elves who aren't backstabbing scumbags. You see, one was a slave.
Oh, hang on.
This killed the mood a lot.
That's what happens when you attempt to play music without first clearing the queue, people.
I'll post that one again.
Yes, please do.
Okay. No!
Can we stop? Oh, you got there. I regret putting this in here. Cry it out loud.
Hold on, let's get
Here, please. Ouch, something stuck in my throat.
Is it safe?
I'm glad I had the bot muted.
In case anyone is wondering, the bot was playing Smoke Weed every day.
Yes.
Based.
A variation of smoke.
There we go.
In any case,
Now-
maybe we should keep
In
the
any
bot
case.
muted.
Now we have some marketplace ambience music playing as a trace by Marsh here. Yes, that was a bit unexpected, and I do apologize. Please carry on.
Technical issues, yes. This is
Anyway.
technical alpha.
I'll jump in and cut him off while giving him a pretty angry look, saying, "There is a reason why I left the Empire."
Well, hopefully you aren't one of the... Well, hopefully you're the 4th one I know, then.
And I'll add that slavery is something that should not be permitted.
This instantly wins you a win in my book. Well, you're already turning out better than the rest of them. Anyway, Back to that question, though. Someone with your set of skills doesn't really sound like someone who would guard a cart. Is there an actual reason for you to be in this city, or?
You should see the other man, and the woman.
Oh, good grief! Women in mercenary work are either the scariest sons of bitches you would ever meet, or some fucking whore. Hopefully, she's the first one.
Well, I'll leave that experience up to you.
Anyway, CD is staying silent. He wants to meet the rest of the party before he discusses anything else.
I'll bring him back with me, since I believe we can come to a conclusion that nothing happened. Agreed?
100% agreed.
Very well.
And you can keep the change.
Why, thank you.
In that case...
Do
Oh, sorry, you're not finished. Carry on.
No. Nothing. I'm finished.
Alrighty. As the disguised elf and the disheveled human walk down the street, making their way back in the direction that Grigori had previously walked, they eventually all unite up once again at the warehouse. The interior is still open to them, as they have only recently concluded business with the interior, and the rest of the party are each doing their own things on the inside. Unless anybody has anything that's specific that they would like to do, what would the two newest members of the party see as they walk in and reunite with the rest of the group?
How long has it been?
Yeah, I was wondering, like, where exactly we sort of left off after Grace broke the man's arm.
Well, since Grigori walked out of the building during roughly halfway through the unloading process of the cart, I would say it's been somewhere in the realm of 20 to 25 minutes. A similar amount of time has passed since Grace had her arm wrestling competition.
Okay, have I gotten back to everyone yet? Because I've...
Yes, you would have.
I have, right.
You would have been just simply waiting around for Grigori to come back to the area so that you could potentially meter out the coin that you owe your friends.
Yes, fair enough. How far have we travelled? We haven't travelled that far, have we? So there's a certain amount of coin to meter out, I believe.
If you look down into the map, the distance that you've travelled, you can see that there is a pinch point between that small region of forest and the coastline. The distance that you've travelled is roughly that towards where Verdenfeld is.
Okay.
Is it where I put the little dot?
Yes, it's roughly there.
Okay. Trying to work out what would be. Well, did we actually discuss? Because we didn't actually discuss how much I was going to pay everyone. I did say that I would pay people more if they could participate in a drinking game with me.
Yes, which I did.
That's
I
correct.
certainly did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the discussion was purely hypothetical values.
Yes.
Based around how much one could consume before they passed out.
That's right. So and I'm not quite sure where we stand on that, but we'll I don't know. I've got a big.
I guess we could just split it. I don't know.
You want me to split the contents of my entire cart? What, 4
Evenly,
ways?
Yes.
Evenly.
Yes.
I would like one of those wheels, please. Thank you.
That seems massively generous.
I don't know. That seems perfectly proportional.
Well, maybe you should consider all of the bandits that we scared away with our
Oh no, and
ferocious
it's not by
outlet.
4 either, because my robot also needs to get paid. So it's 1/5 for me, 1/5 for my robot.
I'm sorry, I don't recognize robots as as having rights and should be paid. No. I'm a...
Are you a robophobe?
Absolutely.
How dare you?
I don't think it's fear. I think it's disgust.
I'm a man of a cloth. If you don't have a soul, you're not a person to me. That goes for elves too.
I just look at the dwarf.
I mean, of course.
Anywho,
I just look at the dwarfs and say, souls, right?
Hypothetically, would that mean one who bears 2 souls would get paid twice the amount?
this is
In any case, I would like to also introduce my little +1 here that I brought back with me to the guard.
hello,
You
everyone.
found a homeless slave.
Yes, I've found a little companion that would most likely be useful to our group coming out of from here now on.
I'm not a pet, you know.
Oh, shut it. Details come later.
Anyway, hi everyone. I'm CD. Just call me CD.
Well, if you're going to be traveling with us, you can call me Gunnar.
I see. I'm Bruce.
So, Grace. So, Phoebe, how long have you been on the streets?
How long have I been in the streets, as in this city? Quite a while now.
Oh, no, I mean, without a home.
He shortens at that and says, I've never had a home.
Well, in any case, before you get on that cart, you're gonna take a bath.
I'm very clean, thank you very much. I do bath.
Bathe in the sewer?
I cast clean water,
I mean-
so piss off.
Well, at least we'll be able to drink while we drink.
Yep, I am convenient to have on. And I actually have a tip for y'all. You see, there was this thief, a bandit type of guy. He stole something from me and then ran out of the city. Now, I kind of want to track him down, so if y'all can help me out on this, I promise to give you everything in there for you. I just want my stuff.
Well, if he escaped the city, he could be anywhere. You must have some leads.
Yes, you see, the greenery on me is not just decoration. I am a druid. I can read nature like a goddamn open book, so we can track him down easy. I just need some extra hands. And who knows, maybe you'd find something really nice there. He did steal from a lot of people.
Do you reckon we'll find some kind of bandit lair?
Yeah, most likely he's hiding in a cave. So, what do you say?
How powerful would you suppose these bandits to be?
I'm pretty sure they're your common rabble. The guy was a bit scary, but you know what they say about looks.
Fair enough.
Be ugly then.
I mean,
besides, it'll be fun. Don't you all want a good fight?
Yeah, I mean, we've accomplished the task that I needed. We've sold the booze, and in doing that, I will throw a bag over to Gunnar and another exactly the same weight bag of coins to Grigori, and I will throw Grace a separate bag over to her. You know, there's your your cut. I hope everyone's happy with that. And let me just.
How much money do we get?
I will just message each of you. That's
Okay.
Well, as I said, the deal was if you could drink with me and outdrink me, etc., you would get paid more. And as a result, some people got a little more than others.
Okay.
And also, some people had a debt to the game that they were playing, so they have had that taken into account. And everything is all as it should be. And I'm sure you will all be very, very happy with the amount you have been thrown.
I don't start counting. I just wait with my hand, and I nod. This seems like an acceptable amount.
I will simply count it and then just say, okay.
I will give it a good toss and stow it away. I am satisfied with the weight, not particularly Jewish.
What are these Jew things you mentioned?
No, I think she said Drewish.
Drew, that's right. Okay.
CD, as you see the drunken monk-looking fellow handing out bags of variously sized gold pieces to the rest of his group, what do you do? What do you think?
First of all, after Grigori gets his back, I cast a sideways glance at him and say, "You're right. They are weird. And she's definitely the first type of woman." But then the gang hears a bit of a squeak from behind my back. CD looks behind and then say, "Oh, Tatui, what the? That's nice of you." Tatui brought out a gold coin I gave him earlier. And I say, "Hey guys, drinks on me on this one. To commemorate our new friendship."
Someone say drinks?
And then I buy them all drinks.
Drinks!
All right, so CD, what kind of establishment are you going to try and search out? Are you just going to try and look for some generic open stand that's selling cheap drinks on the street, or are you actually going to find somewhere with an interior?
Oh, we weren't at a bar? I thought we were. That's the case.
You are currently standing in a large red brick warehouse filled with a variety of goods, but unfortunately, they don't sell in small numbers.
Then we go to the nearest tavern, and I do tell them, "This one is on Tatui, my rat."
All right, then.
Tatui?
Yeah, my rat. He points on his shoulder, and suddenly you see a gigantic rat the size of a cat popping out on his shoulder. See?
I wave to my robot to make sure he doesn't accidentally smash it.
Hey, get the fuck away from my pet.
Lord, he's infested.
No, he's not. He's clean. As a matter of fact, he continues to pester me to clean him. You would not believe how much money I had to spend on goddamn vets.
I would just raise my eyebrow and go, "Damn, I can't believe you got your rat out in public like that."
CD just stares at him. Aren't monks supposed to be prudish?
Silent? No.
Silent, no. Prudish, no. I like beer, though.
You remember that
like wine.
that children's game? What was it called? Splat the Rat?
Get away from my partner, crying out loud by the mountains. He just bought you drinks. It's his money, by the way. Like, I give him allowance, and he did buy you drinks.
To your rat, long may he live.
Tatui is just peeking from my shoulder, got shitless. because you all can see it right now. He can understand normal tongue, and less said the better.
Well, if the drinks keep flowing, he can keep growing.
Don't worry about him. I'll protect you, and I pet him.
You just see as the small rat gives a little nuzzling to your cheek before darting back away into some unspeakable crevice within your being.
It's called a bag.
God, it lives in your crevice.
It's just a bag. Crying out loud, I'm not hiding him inside my body.
That's exactly what I meant.
Are you sure you don't have some pouch?
You haven't mentioned your bag yet, so therefore it was unspeakable, and it's definitely a crevice.
In case you're wondering, he is quite the large boy, like an actual cat's size. He would probably win a fight against a cat, and he likes to dart on my body from one place to another. Half of the straps on my body are just for him to dart around it.
Okay.
Anyway, as you all drink, I do explain to you exactly where the bandit and where did he go, like from what gate did he go out, and I tell you, so how about it? You help me get my stuff back, and everything in that bandit cave is yours, eh?
Well, I think it's worth an attempt.
Nice.
Have been stewing for a fight. I know a couple of guys over there actually who seem to have a good hand if we need an extra.
I could always get an extra pair of hands, and you do look tough.
I assume you wanted this bandit alive, no?
This bandit? He wasn't a dragonborn, so well, you can kill him if you want. I just want my stuff, to be honest.
Well, let's not be going around killing people willy-nilly. All lives are sacred. After all.
Sorry.
Well, I don't know.
There's no reason to kill him. I was just wondering what you wanted to do with him once you got him.
Well, figure out where he put my stuff, take it, and if he has extra treasure, I won't mind,
I see no reason to really keep him alive, honestly. More stuff for us.
There's no reason to kill him. I mean, it's only a common thief.
I doubt he would let us take all of his stuff. So.
I suggest we'll burn that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we intend on giving him much choice, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
I like you already.
So, how much are we drinking before we settle out?
Well, given the fact that the average salary, or that the average daily salary of a standard working class civilian is somewhere in the realm of 5 to 6 silver pieces a day, and that you have just been given a gold piece between you, you can probably expect somewhere in the realm of several good bottles of wine, and who knows?
I'm not doing the whole drinking thing again. No.
I'm not...
My character is, though. My character will get good and plastered.
I'll drink,
as is the way.
Get drunk. I'll drink a drink or two, make them last, but I won't get drunk.
Okay, that's fair enough. I would say that each of you have your own certain levels of alcohol tolerance. In addition to the drinks, by the way, a gold piece could also set you all up with a decent meal each.
Sure, why the hell not? The two is happy with this.
Yes, I think I'll just go for a meal and a drink, like a bottle of wine. Just
outstanding.
Nothing extravagant, nothing extreme.
Yeah, I'll refrain on the alcohol.
In either case,
sorry.
If
who's refraining on the alcohol?
The knife here.
Can I raise a suspicious eyebrow at you in general at that, and then
It is a bit too early in the morning. Do you not think?
Mutter something about weakness, and then carry on.
Any remaining amounts of money, I just buy the most expensive, possible meats I can and give them to Tatui.
All right, okay. I would say that you're able to, after the drinks and the meals, with the remaining change you have left over, you're able to buy yourself a cut of not prime pork, but something that wouldn't normally sell very well. Something that would usually get mixed into sausage meat, and you're able to get that on the cheap pretty easily for your pet rat.
Tatui squeaks happily, eats, and then hides back in the backpack.
That's fair. Do you make any special effort to ensure that the rat isn't easily visible the entire time, or are you just letting anybody who happens to spot him?
Out in the streets, no, I don't make any special effort to keeping him hidden. In the tavern, he is probably fully hidden, and when I get the meat back, I take him out and then feed him there.
That makes sense. Okay.
While we're in the tavern, I would like to. Do we plan on staying in the city for long, or do we plan on leaving towards finding that bandit?
As soon as possible. I don't want him to run away. 2, I'd rather not anyone find us. There aren't many dogs around, and the bones are distinct.
All right.
I say this whispering to Grigori.
All right.
Okay.
Then I won't do anything. I'll just keep listening on to everybody else talking while I'll just continue eating my stuff.
So a reasonably early start then to go hunting these bandits of yours.
Well, do bear in mind that at this point you've already spent what is likely approaching 2 hours within the city's limits, in addition to the time spent having travelled the last leg of the journey to the city and having also had to go through the process of slowly meandering your way in through the main gates. By this point, it's likely the early afternoon, somewhere in the realm of somewhere between 12 and 1 o'clock. It's close to midday.
Oh, in that case, how fast are these bandits, would you say?
Well, I can't tell for certain right now. I need to actually get out of the gate before that. Should I do a scout and then come back to you?
I mean, I think we can finish food quite quickly.
So, CD gets out in just a bit. A 15-minute walk outside of the northern utmost gate. He does a nature check in order to see where have they gone exactly.
All right.
Can I help him with that?
If Grigori is following CD out of the city whilst leaving the remainder of the party on the interior, yes, you can choose to give to give advantage assistance.
Oh, I thought that we were all going with them.
No, I'm just scouting for a bit and then coming back and telling them exactly where they went.
I'll stay within the city then.
Okay. Hopefully this roll doesn't suck. Ooh, 19.
That's not bad. Right. Give me a moment. I just need to quickly type something out to Chase.
So what do you reckon? A lot of weaklings equal to one strong person? How many do you think we'd need for a proper challenge?
I mean,
well,
what do you count as strong?
It's just one man and maybe just a group of half a dozen. I don't think they'd be much of a threat.
Fair enough.
Oh,
half a dozen
come now, surely you want a threat.
Oh well, I'll merely suggesting the realistic possibility of being just a bunch of thieves. Not
All
really
right.
up for a challenge.
So, Chase, as you make your nature check, you search around in all of the most likely exit pathways that you could take, looking for signs of footprints and the like of a potential thief, and then realize, no, this isn't really your area of expertise, and instead decide to travel over to a small dead tree that has a small nesting of a variety of black birds, what you can only assume to be some kind of crows. You walk over to them and you begin to inquire as to whether or not they have seen a particularly a man of the particular description that you're looking for. A lot of them begin. Sure, go ahead and make the physical description.
Okay. I go to the tree. I see the nest of the crows in there. As I approach, they start cawing, "Caw, caw," in which many don't know this, but a druid would know. Crows have distinct calls for different individuals, especially noteworthy ones. Though nobody else would understand it, I do understand that this is they're calling out specifically for me. They recognize me.
Habibi, Habibi, come.
Yes.
Actually, Chase, I'm going to step in here and say that these crows would not be familiar with you. This will be only the first time that they see you.
Yeah, but
although they would recognize you. They would recognize you as being a druid, however.
Yes, that's the point that I was trying to make. They recognize me as a druid. But as I step forward, I look at them. Look at the nest of the crows. I pull out a bit of the kibble that remained from Tatui's last meal. I throw it at them, to which they all raise up their crows in the air, and then they eat it. I describe the individual that the thief that I just saw, and then they all point towards the location. I ask if they can be specific, throwing extra bit of kibble, and one of them flies away, comes back, and describes the location more accurately.
I'm just going to say, Chase, I'm going to allow this once, but that is a lot of description for a nature check.
All right, I'll be more...
From now on, I'll be doing the descriptions as to how these kinds of events happen, okay?
Okay. You made me sad.
You just basically described like 5 or 6 different checks in one. Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh,
but as I say, I will allow it this once.
Okay. I'll try to be a bit more... less descriptive next time.
So, as you manage to get this vast quantity of information from a non-sentient creature via the simple usage of a single nature check, you find yourself being thoroughly chuffed at the large amount of information being given to you before making your way back into the city. It's in the time that CD is gone, what does the rest of the party find themselves getting up to?
Well, for the time that we've been in the city, I decided to take off my armor and dress in my in just the fine clothes that I have lying around in my packet.
I see. And I assume you found a nice and secluded spot to do this changeover.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Well, I've most likely just finished eating my food and drink, and I'm just waiting for CD to return.
Oh, I see.
I'm probably going to be doing just about the same, just sort of making conversation and enjoying a drink. Or 3.
All right. Well, it's a good half hour or so before CD ends up arriving back at the tavern that he had originally guided you all to. Arriving back at the tavern, CD, you find that your new companions have apparently not decided to ignore you and walk off, and have actually stuck around in a seemingly genuine curiosity and desire to give you a hand.
Wow.
Chase? Are you there?
Yes, I am there.
Okay.
I'm surprised that they are, but I'm happy still. I'm back.
The surprisingly sanitary one seems to have returned.
Ouch. I know where they are exactly. Should we go?
Oh, well, that was quick. All right. Might as well. No time like the present.
How much travel?
It's Ginger.
Hmm?
How much time to travel to the place? Or should I just pull something out of my ass?
You'd have to give it an estimate, but you're guessing somewhere in the realm of 3 to 4 hours travel there. It's a good distance outside of the city in order to reduce the likelihood of this particular thief from being tracked down by the local city guard.
Well, I relate to them like that, exactly.
Okay, I'll go and grab the wagon. I'm assuming we'll need it.
Well,
That
you'll
sounds
need
like
it.
a good
with a
way
lot of loot.
to expedite the travel. Yes.
And was it Gunnar who had best put his armor back on before we head off for a fight? Unless you're looking at enhancing the difficulty here.
That
setting
would
yourself
be
a challenge.
Grigori.
I'll do that once we get out of the city again.
Yes. Putting it on now might be somewhat detrimental to his health.
I'll just look at him and go, fighting without armor. Good man. Man after my own heart. Armor just slows you down and makes you weaker anyway.
I found that in specific situations, having armor is more detrimental than not having it.
I totally agree. As you can see, my trusty loincloth and I get on just fine.
See, I find having such dexterity draws you away from the thrill of the fight. It's far better to have something to weigh you down and bring yourself really down to earth.
Yeah, it sounds like more. It sounds like you're just making it easier for the enemy.
Yes. Try swimming in that armor. That's all I'm saying. You never know when you need to swim.
Oh, I meant she looks like she's giving the enemy a fair fight by putting it on and weighing her down.
All right, so with the party gathering up onto Gruse's cart, traveling their way out of Verdenfeld and making their way into the outskirts of the area. If somebody would like to find an appropriate piece of background ambience to get into the surrounding countryside.
I have one set up.
Excellent. Well, in that case, make sure that when you are using the bot that you do !FS to force the skip of the music.
Oh.
!SS.
Oh.
Ooh, nice.
Apparently it doesn't let me.
That's interesting. I'll have to do it instead.
Don't you mean ! Two lightning bolts?
I think you put it on twice. Ah, there it is.
There we go.
Perfect.
There we go.
So, good choice. As the party begins to trundle along the road, you find that the amount of traffic coming into the city seems to have diminished compared to this morning. You get the impression that whilst the city itself can be quite busy during the early morning period, presumably for the purposes of farmers and surrounding people within the countryside attempting to get into the city, that amount of traffic tends to clear up a little once you get further and further into the day. In either case, It's not long before CD ends up pointing you off the road over to the left, saying that his feathered companions had pointed him as to that area over there being roughly the right direction for where you need to go.
It's right over
Overall,
there.
either way, is there anything that any of you would like to do as preparation as you are making your way off of the now well-trodden road and alongside what can best be described as no longer a paved road and more of a well-trodden dirt path?
I
right.
have. First, you.
No. Go ahead, Chase.
I have my quarterstaff out and ready, and Tatooine is right on top of my head, looking out.
I'll tune my banjo and strum a tune, maybe.
I assume we're all on the cart now that the barrels are gone.
Oh yes, with the barrels gone, there's easily enough room for all 5 of the party members to be able to fit onto the cart, even if you include your automaton.
Yes.
Your automaton.
I'm just relaxing next to my automaton.
I shall make sure that both of my swords are well sharpened and polished.
And I'm making sure that my armor is back on correctly, and that my sword and the other equipment are fine as well.
Yes, of course. I'm strumming my techno lute.
Techno loot.
Yes.
Oh,
You're-
we can jam.
Oh, do you? Oh no! I
Do you know dueling banjos?
Do you also have an electric triangle?
Well, hey, I can make one.
Fucking electric triangle. How to make an electric triangle?
It's
Wrap a
quite
cord
shocker.
around it and shove it into the wall.
It's quite a shocker for the ladies.
Yes.
I'm just amazed that the two of you would be both strumming together on the side of the road like this.
We're just playing Dixieland, but with
Down, 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 down.
Upon hearing music, CD is a lot more relaxed.
So, Gunnar, why don't you go ahead and describe to us what makes this loot a techno loot?
well, you see, it is very similar to a lute, but it's mostly made out of sort of brass and other various metals, and most of the magical stuff happens on the inside of it. Other than that, it just looks like a very shiny guitar, and it is capable of projecting
it's
louder
less
than
of-
normal sounds.
So you don't play
So
techno with it, then?
it's less of a techno loot and more of a magical loot. Would you like me to come up with some MacGuffin as to the precise reason as to why it's a techno loot later, Marsh?
I mean, that's fine. I haven't really thought much about the technology.
In either case, as the car travels along the dirt road, you can see at those with the steely eyes that the path itself, whilst relatively well trodden as it makes its way off into the forest, you can tell that it appears as though there's some degree of hunter and gathering going on in these outskirts of the city. Get the impression there may be some people who go about the outskirts and go hunting for random pieces of venison, for example, or rabbits, or anything along those lines. In either case, you note that as the travel gets further and further, the path itself becomes less and less defined, and eventually what is a relatively manageable road ends up turning into, for all intents and purposes, untended fields. The cart at this point is beginning to struggle, and those of you more familiar with how a horse and cart works would begin to know that if you take it any further, there's a chance it may end up getting stuck in some mud.
Is Ginge fading in and out for anyone else?
No, he's fine for me.
Yeah, it's fine for me too.
Might
As
be.
much as I would not like to walk in this mud, getting this car stuck would
suck.
Would very
Yes.
much suck indeed.
I agree. How long do we have left, do you think, if we would go on foot?
I think half an hour or so.
And
Well, that sounds reasonable to me.
We should probably
Half an hour.
dash the horse and cart in that case somewhere where it's not going to jam up the road, not going to get stuck, and
more importantly, not stolen.
And exactly, yeah.
Oh, let me just be clear, by the way. At this point, you are already a considerable distance off the road. This area that you've been walking along is best described as a dirt path. The area that you're on, during your time traveling down this road for several hours, you've only seen maybe one or two other people going in the opposite direction.
Perhaps we could park the car to the side and cover it up with a sheet or something.
Yes, that would be.
Some branches, etc. off trees. I would do nicely, I think. I don't know if we have a sheet.
Speaking of your horse and cart, by the way, have you thought of a name for the horse?
We could call him Dragon.
A valiant name for a mediocre
dragon.
horse.
Dragger? Is that with a hard R?
Yes, absolutely. Dragon, yes.
Dragon.
Oh, dragon. I thought dragger.
Oh.
Well, in either case, before this conversation gets any more unsavory, how about we say that you find an appropriately large boulder to stash the horse and cart behind, so that those travelling along the main road to the distance are not able to quite so easily spot it without having to go out of their own way.
And I help cover it up with leaves and whatnot.
I would say for the purposes of concealment, roll me either a stealth check or a survival check. Player's choice.
Can you not use a disguise check, Grigore?
Who
Sorry,
should roll?
what?
I'll give you a hand with it, and I'm going to roll a stealth check. That's that.
Should I roll
All
something?
right. So,
Okay.
Trig
Yeah,
has
presumably-
volunteered to do the role for guiding the process of stealthing the cart, and with a 17, you end up doing quite a good job. You decide it would probably be best if you don't also try to stealth the horse. As such, you decide to just simply tie it up next to a tree, a little bit further into the forest, where it'll have plenty to graze on, but not much in the way of thieving eyes.
Cool.
But in either case, you are satisfied with the job that you do, and you begin to make your way further into the forest. As you do, you see that there are quite clearly trails through the forest that you can see that are likely popular footpaths with some of the local wildlife, as well as potentially some humanoids, whether they be dragonborn or other, making their way through the natural landscape. But with a bit of guidance from the local druid, you are able to find your way through some of the some of the more difficult areas, avoiding spots where the land has turned into a bit of a marshy depression and things along those lines. In either case, Marsh and no, not Marsh, Chase, as you are the druid guiding the party through the forest, you eventually find yourself coming to a bit of a clearing. A sudden lack of trees in an otherwise heavily wooded area. As you look around, you find that you can't really remember what the crows said. You don't remember them mentioning a clearing.
This is weird. I want what's it called? I want to see if there's anything suspicious around here.
Okay. I'm going to say from here, a lot of you can discuss with each other in character, come up with ideas as to where to go next, and see if you can come up with some good explanations as to how you're going to use the various skills you own as your characters and how you're going to work together to figure out where exactly your targets may lie. In the meantime,
So,
I shall find some appropriate ambience music.
so perhaps the rest of you hold a different viewpoint on this. I very much doubt it, but I'm not one for sneaking into a situation. It seems petty and wasteful. But do you suppose we hunt them down and announce ourselves, or send someone else to act as a trap, so to speak?
Well, if you need a decoy, me and my robot would do quite well, I feel.
From my experience, it's been easier to lure somebody when they have a false sense of superiority.
Yes.
So you mean yes to the bait plan?
People are
Definitely.
also easily fooled when they are drunk. I'm just saying. Just putting it right out there. I could always challenge someone to a drinking contest. Happened to find my way in there, and as we know, I have a good drinking game. And
challenge them with the bottle again.
Bandits might fall for such a ruse.
What's that about a bottle?
That does not sound like a bad idea.
Plus, a meager wandering monk with a banjo and a bottle of booze seems somewhat unassuming.
Inoffensive?
Inoffensive.
TV looks at you. You only have a one flask.
Yes.
How the hell are you? You're gonna invite him to drink from one flask.
Yes.
Yes. It is it's a very strong drink, you see.
Yes.
Well, it must be if you're gonna get them drunk on it.
Yeah.
You do realize there are multiple of them, right?
I put my hand on CD's back and he's got this. Do not worry about this.
He is the master of drunkenness of all kind. Getting other people drunk, being drunk. He'll figure something out if he.
My gut sense doesn't ring a bell, so I'll trust you on this.
We'll need to refill my flask afterwards, I assume. But with that I'm sure we can take out of the loot. But yeah, it might be worth a go. I have a nice flask of wine.
Go ahead.
Two camps then.
Mm-hmm.
One with a lone monk traveling on his own with but a bottle of drink and a heavy coin purse, perhaps. And the other being our group ready to march in and announce ourselves when a challenge arrives.
Try and get them into a single area. You see?
There may do you know how many that would be? You said something about half dozen, perhaps.
Yes, the bird wasn't really that smart. He did see humans and a lot of them, but he didn't say exactly how many. It's probably half a dozen or so.
Then it's probably also wise for us to, in case something does go wrong, to
Have a plan?
to minimalize the people left that could actually act. We could tie a few of them up, knock them out unconscious.
Sure. The plan, I think, would be that Gruus comes out with his bottle of very strong drink. He invites them to a drinking contest, hopefully, if he got enough charm in him. And when the time is set, I'll cast Entangle, get them inside this nice small space, and we'll see from there.
Yes.
An arena of some kind for us to valiantly fend them off then.
Yeah,
Or
once
cut
we've
them down like
once
common
we've
meat.
knocked them all out and made sure that they won't be able to run away or attack us, we could in fact construct a small arena for us to fight them in.
Weirdly averse to
I
killing,
guess.
you know? Doesn't really suit my first impression of you.
I never said anything about killing. I just said about fighting them. And with us, I mean Grace, who seems far more capable in that.
I believe perhaps just killing them outright would be merciful.
Merciful. I guess they are, after all, living a harsh and godless life in the woods, and they are damned already. And
we're coming to take all their stuff anyway. So how good a life can they really lead after that?
God forbid they might actually cut off a piece of a shotgun.
Oh, what now?
Oh, sorry. That's an elven word.
I've talked to a lot of elves and I've never heard it.
Shotgun. I know shot glass, but what is this shotgun?
I know shot glass as well.
Perhaps it is a type of drinking game.
Everybody make a history check in order to try and figure out what a shotgun may be.
Does this have anything to do with stones?
Oh, fuck.
I'm gonna say no.
Wait, let me back that up.
I was attempting to make a Ruby Ridge reference, but
I 19.
Wow. Most of you have absolutely no idea what on earth this could be. Gunnar, you hear the word shotgun and you think, you feel like there's something on the tip of your tongue. TD, well, as you hear the term shotgun, you think to yourself, and you think, I've spoken to a couple of elves in my time. I've listened on their conversations, and I've listened to a variety of orcs as well, who also have their own, their own business dealings and talks with the elves, and you've never heard of this.
Nah, I've never heard of a shotgun.
In
Is
fact,
it some kind of weapon?
What? Of course not.
Yeah, it's just some silly drinking game the elves play.
I squint my eyes hard at him. Feel the pressure.
It's some. It's a very, very bad elven drinking game. It involves carts, and the last one to get on the passenger side. It's basically whoever gets on the passenger side first gets spared drinking themselves into the back. Let's say.
You gotta teach us that game sometime, yeah.
Presumably, we shall have a long trip. Well, not a long trip, but a trip back to be made on our carts with a copious amount of ale, claimed from some bandits. We could experiment with this game ourselves.
Yes, you could teach us the game, yeah?
Oh, I'll be happy to. Of course, it is a weird elfin game, so some of the terms and rules may be a bit difficult for non-humans. However, I mean, for humans and non-elves.
I squint my eyes even harder to the point that you might mistake me for closing them. Tatooine is on top of my head, also squinting his eyes.
I can picture that.
This is what you get when you try to put in IRL references.
Yes,
and later on we shall.
What is this IRL you speak of?
I'll just keep my mouth shut.
Might I recommend that in future you avoid making references to real life events and occurrences?
I'll keep the ATF and the FBI out of this next time.
Sounds good. So
they're best left out of most things, I find.
And now that there's been sufficient conversation in character, someone sum up to me, what is the plan? Bearing in mind, as of right now, you are, for all intents and purposes, in the middle of a forest with the only direction that is clear being the way you came. You don't know which. You don't exactly know which way to go next.
Well, there seem to be two plans, as far as I can tell, unless I've totally mistaken it. Which is A, we can just march in there, and the moment we see them, start hacking them up. Or B,
that's the grace way. Yes,
that is the grace way, and plan B,
the graceful way.
Plan B was to have me sort of wander into their camp and talk a huge amount of shit and essentially challenge a few of them to some drinking games to help a lonely priest pass his time and see how many of them I can get absolutely shit-faced. And then we go in there and beat up a bunch of drunken people.
But Gruce, I think the DM meant that we have absolutely no idea yet where they are.
That's also true.
Correct.
Isn't that the job of our
druid? Yeah.
Druid.
What should I roll to find them? And this time I'll do it properly.
Okay. I would say you can roll a choice between either a nature check, a survival check, or a perception check.
Survival. Damn it! If only I had.
If you had help.
If only someone had piped up and said, "I'll help him."
Alas, we did not get the chance between him saying, "I shall make a roll," and rolling.
This is about the first time I've ever been in a forest. I wouldn't know where to go from here.
So,
yes.
See, you begin to look around inside the forest, and you begin to wander around this clearing, going around the outer edges, trying to find evidence of individuals who may have stealthed themselves behind bushes in order to spy out potential hunting prey. And you're just generally speaking looking for areas where you would give a good guess as to where other entities, whether they be humanoid or merely animalistic in nature, are likely to have wandered at some point in order to pick up on some tracks to follow. And after some time has been spent with you wandering about and, generally speaking, not having a great amount of success, you do suddenly spot something rather interesting. Trig, we can hear the cat.
Sorry. Yes, he has woken up and is attacking my mic.
Aww.
Well, I say attacking.
Yes.
Just sort of Yeah. Mm.
The reason why I say it is interesting, CD, is because whilst you find a set of footprints, in fact, you find several sets of footprints, they are footprints that you are not particularly familiar with. You rack your brains, and at first, nothing appears to be. You're not spotting. You're not able to think of anything that would match these very specific looking footprints that you see before you. To give a brief description, it's odd. They're almost bird-like in their overall construction. You can see that there are 3 points where what you would suppose to be some form of talon has both dug into a single spot in the back and then 2 additional points in the front. And there are innumerable instances of these footprints, and they all just seem to be scattered around the area. Once you've spotted one, more apparently make themselves known to you as now you've spotted this anomaly and are capable of actively searching for more. In either case, this is not the footwork of a human.
Can I use my Medallion of the Forest to get a reroll?
I would say so, yes. Also, if you wanted to, you could try and point out these footprints to one of your companions and then go through a bit of a discussion and see with them and see if the pair of you together can come up with some kind of explanation as to what you're looking at.
Yeah, I can help him with it.
Would that imply an insight roll? Or would it be investigation?
It depends.
I call out Grigori to come and see this footprint.
You can call me George. That's probably a bit easier for humans.
I'll go with him, just for fun.
Okay. I simply say, hey, George. There's something interesting, and I figured I need another head with me in here. Both you and Gunnar come to my aid. And as you step forward, you see the weird footprints that you see. Never seen an animal that has a footprint like that.
Again, as described earlier, as the pair of you look down and spot these oddly shaped footprints, you are also able to gather that it looks like it's maybe an extremely large pigeon of some kind, or some other avian-style creature. It definitely has that overall look. Unfortunately, due to the mismatch of directions in which these footprints appear to be laid, you don't appear to be able to figure out whether or not it's either bipedal or quadruped.
Can I look around the area if there's maybe something stuck on the shrubbery or anything else that can say a direction or something?
If you're doing a more hands-on search, actively looking into bushes and the like, then you can roll yourself an investigation.
Yeah.
If you're just standing back and giving an overall view of the area, that would be perception.
No,
yeah. I'll do the study.
Hands-on looking a bit.
And I'll help him.
I'll just be standing about, looking at stuff, inspecting various
all right.
footprints.
And who are you giving assistance to there, CD?
To Grigori, George.
All right, so Grigori, you look around. Well, actually, first of all, I'll start with Gunnar. So you take a step back and decide to give a look around to see if you can spot anything else that may help parse out precisely what's going on here. And as you look around, Gunnar, you do spot that in addition to the various footprints that you can see scattered around the area, you can see these oddly shaped pieces of damaged bark within one of the trees. And you walk over and get a bit of a better look, and you can see that it appears as though there are points in which whatever these front-toed creatures are seem to have been able to climb up this tree and effectively use what you are presuming to be talons to dig into the bark to give them leverage to aid in the climbing process. Whilst with Grigori, his investigation check aided by Seedy, as you look around yourselves, you begin to separate bushes out and begin giving a full, in-depth investigation into the area. And you find that in addition to the small-toed footprints, you're also able to spot one additional thing. At first, it looks to be just a random conglomeration of bits of stone and twigs that are just a little bit out of place, but then a bit of a further investigation shows that no, these stones have all been napped. They've all been carved via the ancient act of napping flint, and you can see that these twigs, whilst clearly natural in nature, are all oddly straight. And then a little bit of further investigation shows that there are very distinctly slits in one end of these twigs that allow you to see that there are spots where clearly at some point there would have been feathers located in them. You appear to have found the remnants of perhaps some old broken arrows.
Oh.
Perhaps I'll tell this back to Grigor,
this is
CD.
to Gunnar and to CD. It looks like
he was talking about.
They I don't know what this is, but
Hold up, that was me. He was talking about what I was looking at.
No. The description of the arrows, that's what Grigor.
Oh, that's what Grigor saw.
What you were able to spot, Gunnar, is that whatever these things are apparently have the ability to climb up trees and do so relatively deftly as well.
Okay.
As I'm basically kneeling next to all the arrowheads that I found, I sort of look back to the other two and say, I don't know what these are, but they can wield arrows.
Oh, good grief! I needed this in my life, didn't I?
I don't think the animals are what are wielding the arrows. Perhaps something was hunting them. Or perhaps a person was hunting the creatures.
Or perhaps we face some kind of demons. Now that would be a challenge.
Good grief, you snuck up on us.
I don't. Maybe.
It's supposed to be
there has been something here recently. Was it recent, or was it like? Can I see how long they've been there, or something like that?
In regards to the arrows themselves,
yeah.
Looking at the arrows, and I would actually say make another check. I'll let you be the one to decide what the exact nature of this check is, whether it be survival or perception, anything along those lines. Both the results of your roll and the choice of your skill will determine the results.
All right, I guess it's perception.
Should I roll it too, or?
If you want to try and see what information you can pass out, feel free.
Ooh, nice.
Okay, so when you look through the arrows and you try to figure out a sign, some kind of indication as to how long they've been here, you look through and you see that one of the feathers doesn't seem quite right. It's been split down the middle, as you would expect for when creating fletching for the rear end of an arrow, but it seems as though there's been something sticking the various quills of the feather down. And as you look over it and you begin to parse it out, CD, you're the one who actually recognizes that this is remnants of partially dried saliva. You would have to guess that whatever process is being used to separate these arrows into two separate fletchings, it probably involves the use of teeth. And that
shit.
whatever this process is, has apparently only concluded sometime within the last few hours.
I think something ate our bandits and then shit them out. And this is the leftovers from him. You can see here, it's the marks on these arrows. They're not sharp tools, they're teeth. And this is saliva.
You said that the saliva was keeping the arrows together?
No. The saliva is what remains on some of the arrows that have been split in order to create fletchings for arrows. Do you know what I mean when I say fletching?
No.
Yeah, the arrows was split in the middle so that it would fit on the.
Think of a typical medieval style arrow that has the arrowhead, the long shaft, and then the feathery bits on the end. The feathery bits on the end are called fletchings. They're made by taking either a bird's feather or sometimes a leaf, splitting it down the middle, and then embedding it into the base of the arrow shaft. What you're looking at here is some entity's attempt to be able to split a feather to create fletching, but apparently doing so with its teeth rather than with any kind of knife or similar tool.
So what you're trying to say in here is something is smart and it was trying to make arrows. It's just was trying to use its teeth to make arrows.
Would it be fair to say it succeeded in making arrows?
Would it be? Ginger?
Looking at the debris that you see in front of you, it looks like that what you're looking at here is a series of failed attempts. If there are any successful attempts, they're not present.
I suggest that we should watch our backs.
Yes.
What did you find, Gunnar?
What all I found was that these things can climb trees, so we should probably also keep our eyes high. Just in case we suddenly get swooped upon by mysterious bird-like creatures who presumably don't have opposable arms.
Ginger, how large are these trees?
This is a fairly typical European-style oak forest. Some of the trees can be quite exceptionally large, but there's a range.
That's fine. My robot can't be surprised, so...
Can I continue my search for where the fuck this creature is?
Sure. Describe to me how you're going to go through your searching process.
Okay, so we know that it either did make arrows or it was trying to make arrows. So it's intelligent and presumably has range capacity, but it's doesn't have any sharp equipment. And we've already seen the tracks. So I think that I'm going to use nature in order to see what else is there of a general direction, because this creature might have also gotten our lovely bandits.
Right, okay. So you're going to attempt to converse with one of the local pieces of wildlife to try and source some additional information then.
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh, 20. And the natural one.
So, you manage to look around, and you find a spot where you could see that there's a small hovel that has been carved into one of the trees. And as you get a little closer, you close your eyes and listen, and you can hear that there is apparently a small squirrel that has been viewing you. You can spot it up on one of the tree branches. You look directly at it, and it suddenly stops chewing on whatever nut it had previously had in its mouth and stares at you back in a kind of deer in the headlights kind of look. Apparently, you having suddenly snapped to its attention has surprised it.
Yeah, I'd simply ask about any weird creatures. That's it.
And the squirrel looks surprised that you are talking to it, and then responds with, there was some, just imagine I'm currently speaking a chipmunk-style voice. The squirrel looks at you and just says,
Oh no, it's an animal.
Yeah, this is an animal. What did you think I meant by squirrel?
No. I was saying that this is a forest animal. It's not as intelligent as city animals. There's a big distinction between them. But yeah, the squirrel notices what. Yeah.
Chase. Just let Ginger do the thing.
It spots that you're talking to it, and whilst surprised at the fact that it's able to both understand what you're saying, as you apparently have the ability to speak in its own language, it points out in the direction of the area where you and your friends were, and says that there were some weird creatures that were over there for some time. They were looking around and gathering bits of wood and rock and using them to do something, but it couldn't quite figure out what the exact nature of what they were doing was. In either case, it does eventually tell you that they eventually ended up walking off when a much larger creature, something. He stops for a moment and points out to a rather large boulder some distance into the forest and says, something about that tall came over to these little creatures and barked something at them before they all walked off and then points into another direction that way.
Okay. CD looks in exasperation, looks at the squirrel, pats it on the head a little bit, and says, "Thank you," and goes off to the group.
So what did you learn from the squirrel?
There was a group of small creatures, and then something that, he points at the boulder, tall, came in and told them to go off into this direction.
The boulder that he points to, by the way, is somewhere in the realm of about 7 feet tall. It's a large, craggy-looking. It's a large, craggy-looking rock.
I just want my fucking medallion, mate. You hear him whisper to himself.
Don't worry.
I say we send the stealthy elf over there to the rock to check it out.
No, they're not at the rock. Do you want to send them to the direction I pointed to check if they are there? If they are there?
Seeing like the dwarf will probably fall over his feet and alert every forest animal in the area, and possibly the bandits. It seems like the smarter option to set me, doesn't it?
So,
fair enough.
If Grigori is going to go off scouting, there would be some additional rolls that you'd need to make.
All right.
So, First of all, this first roll can be made with advantage due to CD's help. This would be either a nature check or a survival check, your choice, to aid you in navigating through the forest and making sure that you don't lose your way.
All right, I'll do a nature check.
Okay. With CD's help, you are able to effectively navigate your way through using a few tips and tricks that he informs you of in order to be able to avoid stepping over any potentially broken branches and so on and so forth. With this, you are able to make your own presence more effectively concealed. And give me a stealth check with advantage.
Okay.
All right. Rolling a total of 22. The rest of the party, you all see as Grigori begins to make his way off into the more thickly wooded areas of the forest. You soon lose sight of the man as he leaves the clearing, and even more quickly so, find that you're no longer able to hear his footsteps, with Grigori having apparently disappeared from your perceptions. Grigori, as you make your way through the forests, you begin to hear a bit of a... You begin to hear something in the distance, in the direction that you're headed in. It's mostly drowned out by the various noises of the wildlife in the area, but as you grow closer and closer, you soon find that this is a sound that is vaguely familiar to you. You hear the sound of combat. You hear the sound of some form of pitched battle of sorts. Getting closer still, you make sure to keep yourself properly concealed within the various pieces of foliage in order to ensure that there is no way in which whoever is currently fighting each other will spot you. But I think, given that we are about halfway through the session now, it would be an appropriate time to call a quick 10-15 minute break.
Great, because I'm being mobbed by a cat at the moment.
I had a feeling that might be the case.
That's why I had to go silent, because I made a bacon sandwich. I am now being under full attack.
I think a bit earlier we could hear it even purring through the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the time. Very cute.
Very cute.
Honestly,
Okay.
you should get my cat. Lucky does not give a shit if there is food in front of her. So long as it's not in a plate, she doesn't really care about it.
If we're going to break, I'll go get some iced water. I'll be right back.
All right.
And
I
I'm
shall get an
almost
iced cream.
through my whatever you called it, Ginger. I'm almost
A
through
carafe.
a carafe. Okay, sure, a carafe. So I'm gonna fill it as well.
Alrighty.
Also, sorry for the weird be right backs. It's I wish I can control it.
Don't worry, Chase. I understand that you have a complicated home system.
I'm not even gonna dig in that with an answer.
Yes, I think we'll pick things up on the hour. Give people a nice amount of time to go and get some stuff sorted out for themselves. Snacks and drinks.
Indeed. I think maybe if anyone has appropriate equipment on hand, someone should make a loud noise so that whomever decides to cut the video, probably Trig, can cut the 15 minutes out of it.
If only it wasn't live.
Yeah. It's a bit on the live side. I suppose I could go back and edit that, but let's just say the likelihood is slim.
Well, for anybody
I
who is
shall
listening to the recording, if you want to skip over this, skip to approximately 12 minutes from now, and that'll probably do you.
Mm-hmm.
And if this... Oh god, that is abysmal. That was supposed to be a loud clong. Never mind. How miserable is that? No, how miserable is that?
Dropping a small cube of ice into an even smaller glass.
Was it supposed to be a loud clunk from a very small wine bottle?
No, that was me banging 2 bottles together. And yeah.
Oh, the bottles need to be emptied, Kiki.
Oh, there we go, hang on.
So, first of all, down both of them right now, and then try it again.
Right, give me a sec. I'll get the fire extinguisher back out.
Oh no.
Well, I can confirm that my kitten, big fan of bacon, was willing to actually try to take the sandwich from your mouth as you're eating it.
Oh my god. That's one daring ass cat.
Oh, you know nothing. I've only just basically made it and leapt from the ground onto my back and my legs and started crawling up to me. Second time he's done this today.
Oh no!
Wow.
He is a bit of a attempted ninja. Bit of a spaz with it, but you know he's willing to grappling hook his way up me to get to food.
My cat will just sit on the table and just sort of lie down and then just stretch in the direction of the food, just casually creeping closer inch by inch.
That sounds like.
Are you sure they're not snakes?
That's full-grown cat behavior, though. That is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, see, Puck is only like 4 months old, and he's a bit of a spaz. He is definitely.
Isn't it the case with cats that the younger they are, the more active they are? Like older they get, the more they sleep in the day, and the most active a cat is during its baby kitten period.
Ish, because at this
that
age,
really depends on the personality of the cat.
I have my cat, Lucky. I swear to God, you could wave a piece of meat in front of her face, and as long as you don't put it on the ground, she's not gonna move to eat it.
That's well behaved.
I wish. I'm pretty sure she's just lazy.
The rifleman baboons in the Sekiro are very fun, yes.
Oh, no, this little guy, he follows me around everywhere, which is massively cute. He sleeps. He's been asleep most of today, so I can't say for sure whether or not kittens are the most active, because, this guy's very sleepy for a lot of the time. But when he's awake, it's,
Oh, no.
very, very active.
Jack, Lucky does trust me to an insane amount of degree. Like, she's willing to let me pick her up, move her about, even pet her stomach. Like, belly rubs are a common thing in here. But she just doesn't give a shit about food. Unless I put it in a plate or on the floor. She's not gonna chase around for it.
Wild.
But like, she does also like play fighting a lot. She, when she's actually willing to fight, I kind of play with my hand, use my hand to play with her. Like, I move it around, I squeeze at her, and then I move it back, and then I pat, normal cat stuff. She scratch, fights, and bites.
Meow.
Did you hear that?
Yes, very cute.
That is because I've walked roughly towards the cat food.
God, you've only had him for 24 hours. It's impressive that he's already figured that out.
He's a little terror. Is so gorgeous though.
I have something for all the men in here.
What did I do with
it? Just don't let it sting you twice. Once.
But big pee-pee, man. Big pee-pee.
Oh no.
No, I mean you can develop allergens to these things
Oh, okay. Okay.
and then die.
And when... That's a risk I'm willing to take. Let's go, baby.
Also, that's going to be
it would
rather
be-
embarrassing when you get to the hospital.
Oh god.
Yeah, it would be an amusing story, wouldn't it?
So
Doctor,
I saw this meme, right?
Okay, look. Whatever you say, it's a risk I'm willing to take. Okay.
Stop it. Get some help.
You
Stop
mean
it.
medical help?
It's
Well, I'll
no.
need it. Don't worry.
Just think. Your penis gets stung twice, and suddenly, when you try to piss, it just doesn't come out.
There's a stone there, isn't it?
Well, I'll force it out.
Oof.
Oh, he either has the master schlong, or he's dead.
Oh my god.
Why would anyone do that?
It's Florida.
Oh,
Look.
oh.
A Florida boy saw the meme above, and this is the result.
Hold on. I'm downstairs at the moment. Give me a second.
In case,
Let me give you the headline. Florida teen stung over 600 times after inserting his penis inside a beehive.
I mean, this person doesn't need medical help. He needs putting down.
I think he'd probably ask for it at this point, because that 600 times that can kill you, a normal man. Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, let's.
That is a sad amount of dead bees.
Okay, let me check if CD would do this. Oh no, he wouldn't. Thank God.
Here's a thing. So, when the penis gets an erection, the blood flow the vein that allows blood from the penis to drain back into the rest of the circulatory system actually gets blocked off via muscle contraction. It's entirely possible that the very act of him sticking his penis within the beehive, getting stung and then swelling up, is what allowed the other 599 bees to sting his penis without killing him.
So you're saying being horny saved him?
All the doctors are saying no, this will not make your penis bigger.
So don't, for God's sakes, do that. Dear God.
9 out of 10 doctors do not recommend sticking your penis into a beehive. The other one, though, would like to know what happens just for fun.
Bizarre sexual fetish involves making bees sting on penis. What the fuck is these headlines? Well, it's become a sexual fetish, guys. Great.
Hey, do you want to see what is sat on my left-hand side right now? Here we go. I'm just going to post this in Discord.
Okay. Should CD convince some unwitting fool to do that?
What?
Yeah,
No, I don't think we need to bring back such sickening behavior into our escape from reality.
Yeah, I don't think we need to
I'm-
spend however long rolling for
Look,
that.
man, I'm a druid. I know for certain about that. I know about all about nature, man. If
There
you
you
do
go.
it, you're gonna get a big
Oh,
dongus.
You all degenerates have some wholesome.
What a nice...
Is
Let
cat.
me find a picture of my cat as well. Actually,
What a small, cute snoot he's got.
He is a
let
good
me.
boy.
That's
I
a
have
British
this
short hair for you.
wonderful picture of my cats. They both Lucky and Fluffy, the black and white one, hugging while sleeping next to each other. Oh, there it is. Let me just share it. This is the picture. Oh, Lucky is the black one. Fluffy is the white one.
Oh, so cute.
Yes.
No.
Fluffy, Lucky and Fluffy, absolutely. Well, they are not. What's the word? They got this sisterhood thing down to a T because even they don't even play fight against each other.
What, they just actively wield swords?
No, like play fights. Like um, Stripes, the only male, goes around biting and playing. He's like the most active in between the cats. But Fluffy and Lucky just like to sleep next to each other. That's it.
Chase, I'm gonna have to demand that you send me one of those desert kitties.
Oh, I hope. Because I want to find a good home for them. Let me see. You're gonna absolutely dislike Stripes and Shoes because they're both needy as all hell. They like hugging and playing and grooming you. They don't fucking rest. Christ on a stick. They're like, you're sitting on your computer. Instead of being a lazy cat, they're just going to continuously try and get on top of you and then groom the ever-living shit out of you. If they see you asleep, they're going to come to you, start licking your head, and as my brother once told me, Stripes is going to put his nose put his nose inside of your ear and start licking there because he wants you to be clean.
Why aren't you clean, Chase?
Yeah, that's what I was about to
God,
say.
stop licking the microphone, cat. Sorry.
Because look, it's not me, okay?
No, it's mine. My cat just sort of like, oh, licking stuff. Slurp, licks microphone.
Look, it's not me. It's the look. It's just with Stripes and Shoes, okay? Fluffy doesn't do it. I mean, she drews a fuck ton, but she doesn't do that. She does like to sleep on you, but she doesn't groom you or anything unless like you've put your hand in front of her face. It's like, fine, all right, I guess I'll groom you, and she starts licking. It's the same with Lucky, except she doesn't drool. Like she's just pure fucking lazy.
Yes.
And with that, Cuckoo.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the sign to go back to the business at hand.
Yeah, apparently my clock stopped for some reason.
All right. Anyway, I started telling Grigori about how we could just trick some guy into doing that and into sticking his dick into a beehive, and then when he comes back for revenge.
No,
I'm joking.
No,
I will not let this happen.
I am joking. Don't worry. I know full well about karma. Don't worry. I'm not planning on doing it yet.
It's not about karma. It's about basic sentient being decency.
Human decency?
Dwarven decency.
Right, so... give me a moment, I can feel a yawn coming on. Alright, so... Grigori, as you peek out of the bushes and into yet another clearing, you see what can best be described as a slaughter taking place. You see before you something which is quite recognizable, a series of creatures that are familiar from the times you have spent in your childhood, hearing stories about the wider world. Goblins. a variety of them. It's probably somewhere in the realm of 5 or 6. Several have already fallen in battle. And the thing that they have fallen to is a great, massive alligator? No.
Yes? Where's
That
Wes?
can't be right. It's not an alligator. It has an alligator's head, except it is enormous. It has this. It's wearing armor that seemed to have been fashioned from some kind of repurposed large iron plates that simply hang off its form like bells in a bell tower. It has a long, thick, muscly tail extending out the back, which seems to be able to use to effortlessly sweep the goblins off their feet. You see this large, green-scaled creature, rage burning in its eyes as it stomps forward towards each of the goblins, desperately trying to fire arrows back at it in some vain attempt to kill off this gargantuan bipeded creature. This lizard man, as you now realize what you are looking at, wields 2 enormous falchions, these large, slender, and yet completely unbalanced blades, seemingly fashioned out of some large sheet steel from probably some scrap metal abandoned in the outskirts of Verdenfeld. You see as this creature steps forward, punching, slashing, biting, and tearing at these goblins. One of them is particularly unfortunate as the large lizard man walks over to it as it has already had its leg taken out. It's trying to crawl backwards, facing this indomitable creature of incredible size. As it steps forward and with one single hand picks up the goblin, lifts it up to its own head height, and begins speaking in a deep and guttural voice. It says something in a language that you don't recognize, and suddenly the goblin begins to scream.
Well,
Carry on.
I know a multitude of languages.
List them off.
Elven, Sylvan, Common, Dwarven, Draconic.
None of the above.
All right.
As you see the lizard man lift the goblin up to its own head height, the large lizard man and the miniature goblin, they lock eyes, and a moment after seeing this creature utter this phrase in a language that you do not recognize, you see the goblin scream in response and spit into the creature's face. A moment passes before you see the goblin once again begin screeching, this time less in anger and in sheer pain, as you could see the great muscles along the arm of the lizard man begin to flex, as the goblin's skull begins to cave in, being crushed in the grasp of the lizard man. Sickening cracks and squelches take place, as you hear this goblin's life force be ripped away from it by just the sheer grip strength of this entity. It looks over to another one of the goblins, who at this point is doing its best attempt to run for its life, blood pouring from a wound that it's received in its back prior in the fight, with it being the only survivor. You see the great lizard man step forward, another step, takes his falchion and launches it, and with deadly accuracy, you see the goblin take a blow straight to the back of the head, cleaving the skull in twain through the sheer, momentous force of this enormous blade before the entire region is left still. The great lizard man stands around in this clearing of the forest, surrounded by the corpses of the various goblins around him. As he walks over to one of the bodies, you can tell he lifts it up in much the same way as the first, by the head. except you can see this goblin still has an aspect of life to it. There are no words exchanged this time, as instead, this lizard man drives his other remaining falchion through the goblin's torso, before twisting and ripping it out from the right, seemingly cleaving through ribs in the process. The pouring viscera that comes bubbling out of the goblin's abdomen begins to pour to the ground before he lifts the goblin up above his head and begins to drink forth from the pouring blood and guts as if it were some coconut that he just simply cracked open for a snack. A moment passes before he tosses the body aside, sniffs into the air, sniffs again,
and
then stares over in your direction, Grigori.
I stand witness next to Grigori.
No, I'm all alone.
No, Grigori's by
shit.
himself. CD, you and the rest of the party are still back in the wilderness. Still back in the other clearing, I should say.
So I don't hear anything. I get it. Okay, so Grigori.
Big gulp. I'm gonna make my way back as fast as I can and try to in as little as words. I'm gonna go back.
Well, the moment before you begin to move, you hear the lizard man begin to speak out in your direction. This time in a language you can understand. I smell no goblins. Come, speak as friends.
Big gulp.
Show yourself.
As friends. Okay, let's hope to gods for friends.
Hopefully your notebook helps you.
I make sure that with as little sound as possible, make sure that my rapier is ready if need be, and I'll head out of the bushes and raise my hands up in a place like what I'm not armed. I'm not ready to attack. I'm coming out.
As you step out, hands raised, and
somewhat raised.
Not showing any forms of aggression or violence. I'm guessing.
At this point, mostly awe.
Are you still wearing lizard skin as armor?
This ain't lizard.
Well, either way, as you step forward, you see the lizard man. He looks over you as you begin to step closer and towards him. How far do you get before you stop? By the way,
I get out of the bushes and that's it. I'm getting in. I'm getting a good head start in case anything goes wrong. Like not shouting distance, but.
Well, in that case, as you step out of the bushes and then stop, he would look out and sniff again, audibly this time. You can actually hear from this distance the very act of the sheer amount of air being pulled in through these great nostrils. Then he shouts out again. Why are you here?
There are bandits. That stole something from my group. We're currently looking for them. I have no associations to. I look over to the goblins, to those things.
Well, he gestures down with one open hand towards the goblins and says, "The bandits are no more. Slain by the filth. I have cleansed this place."
The filth? Those...
You see as he steps over to one of the goblins, one of the dead goblins, and with one great stomp, lifts his foot and drives it through the skull of one of the goblins, cracking it like a hammer to a coconut, and shouting as he does so, "The filth!"
The filth. I think I can relax a bit and I get a bit closer. The bandits that we were looking for were human. These
The
things.
goblins slew them, as they do with all they see.
Filth killing filth. That is poetic.
Why are you alone?
I was scouting ahead. My group is a bit further back.
Hey, now don't sell us out.
Your friends,
My friends.
are they here same as you?
I'm sorry, what?
Are they
No.
here?
Yeah.
They're away?
We are not from here.
You can see gears turning in the eyes of the lizard man as he is attempting to figure out what you just said to him, and rapidly coming to the conclusion that this is not a smart creature.
Based.
Get your friends! We shall feast!
I give him a nod. And I'll say, I'll be back.
As you say that, you see as he has already apparently dismissed you and begins taking a rather large knife that you would guess in the hands of a standard-sized humanoid would be roughly of a short sword level, but in his hand looks more like a paring knife, and begins picking up the corpses of goblins and slashing them open and letting the viscera pour out. You get the impression that from what you've seen already, you recognize the standard fares of a butcher preparing slices of meat.
I'm gonna go back to the party, and what do I know about lizard men? Can I roll for
Go
something?
ahead. Yeah, go ahead and give me either a nature check or a history check. You have read about history. You've read about history. No, you have read about lizard men in the past. Although personally, you've never seen one. You know that they are distantly related to the Dragonborn, more like a distantly offshoot ancestor, much more savage in nature, with much less in the way of cultural ties and the ability to create large civilizations. They typically exist within the more northern reaches of the wilderness, a region of the world that is beyond the reaches of any of the civilized lands, whether it be, well, civilized in the sense of Stradivania or Vranga and Auriac. In either case, and to see one so far south in the relative outskirts of Verdenfeld with, well, it's entirely out of place. What you do know about them is that they are typically, it's interesting. When they are violent to you, they are incredibly violent. Worse so than even the most bloodthirsty of murderers. But it's also possible to find ones that are capable of conversing and doing so in a perfectly amicable manner.
You tell us?
You make your way back through the forest and make your way over to the same clearing previous that the rest of the party had been waiting at. It's probably been somewhere in the realm of 40 or so minutes by the time you see Grigori emerge back out of the forest, presumably looking considerably less calm and probably looking like he's seen a thing or two.
Bloody hell, did you see a ghost out there?
Well, frankly, thank you for asking. I'm perfectly fine, except for mentally, of course. I believe that we don't have to keep looking anymore for the bandits.
You found them?
Apparently, I have found somebody who knew him, and I tell him with skipping some of the details that they're about the lizard man and the goblins, and the goblins haven't been the bandits haven't been dealt by the goblins.
Nice. All right, let's go to that person.
I suggest we go back to the cart and bring as much food as we can, and maybe drinks.
Yes, there is always a bigger fish.
I strongly suggest we bring as much food and drinks as we can.
Okay, CD is like... I think CD fits you more than me now. You go to the cart. I need to see where my amulet is. So I go ahead with direction that George was from, and leave the party behind.
All right. Do you do so in any degree of stealth, or do you?
Before he goes, I want to call it him. You might want to wait for that.
That being said, what's the rest of the party doing?
Does it look like we could navigate the cart through to here?
Well, the idea was that it would get stuck, wasn't it? Roughly. It looked like it.
Most likely.
I think George just wants us to bring as much food as possible on hand.
Fair enough.
But CD is not having any of it. He states simply that if he's not hostile, then I need to meet him fast. He can't risk losing that thing the bandits stole.
He doesn't seem hostile. However, he doesn't seem to be smart either.
That's fine. I talked with many retards in my life.
Don't underestimate it. But
all right. Is it wearing armor?
Oh yeah.
Then I'll be fine.
He seems like a strong fellow. Perhaps we should have a conversation.
I think you'll find him to your liking.
So,
all right.
So how far back is the cart? If we go back to get food and stuff off the cart, how long are we going to be? Is an hour there, an hour back, or?
Yeah, it's a little more than an hour there and back. It's it's not the distance. It's just the fact that at this point, any semblance of a forest trail that you may be able to follow has now effectively ending in some kind of spider's web of networks. You basically have to try and navigate your way back through the forest with relatively little in the way of knowledge of the surrounding terrain. The chances of you getting lost, or at the very least losing your way in some way or another, is relatively high.
I guess we'll just do with what we have on us then.
Yeah.
All right. Do they come back to me and the big lizard fella?
Well, you went off ahead of the rest of the party, right? By the time you make your way along, following the same traces of a trail that Grigori had left before you, you find yourself making your way over to the same clearing again. And upon entering the area, you catch on the wind the slightest whiff of blood having been spilt recently.
I smell the blood. I prepare my crossbow, and Tatooine is on my shoulders, looking out.
Well, in either case, it doesn't take much of a steely eye to spot the now hunched over gargantuan form of this lizard man, picking up individual goblins, usually by the foot of some kind, and using one of the massive, the blades on these falchions are each 3 foot long, and he's wielding each one in one hand. He just picks up a goblin by the foot and then just swings straight in through the groin, immediately whacking it off, cleaving through sinew and bone in a single strike. And just seems to be doing this with each one. You can see that he is clearly in the process of butchering these creatures for the purposes of food.
All right. Does he notice me?
Doesn't appear to have spotted you, no. Not whilst you're in the clearing.
Big gulp. I stow my crossbow and make sure that it's not loaded, so as to not appear threatening. Tatooine is hiding in my backpack, and he's well trained, but I fear that he might make my back wet. I see him, and with either the stupidest idea in my life or the biggest balls, I cough. Hello?
You see as he, with no degree of urgency, looks up in your general direction before spotting you and just kind of stares at you for a moment.
I'm friends with the black-wearing guy.
After a moment, you see a nod of acceptance. Before, without any words, he just uses one of his massive hands to just beckon you over.
I come over and I ask him, what are you doing?
Before the feast, food must be made for the cook.
And are you going to be sharing that, or will you be gobbling it all down yourself?
You're not there yet.
Damn.
But
wasted a damn good goblin joke.
Don't worry, you can save it for later. Well, I would say
CD appearing a lot less intimidated right now because the guy isn't threatening me. He's obviously not threatening. He says the second stupidest thing he has ever said. Do you want me to help you with that? I know how to cook.
You see as he looks down at you. He points over to a distant corpse and just says, "Bring that here."
Sure. And while I bring it here, should I do a roll about how me cooking or no?
No, there's no need for that right now. I'll let you know when you need to roll for cooking.
Okay.
But for now, if you're just going to go through the process of generally just doing as he says, it's mostly just going to consist of him telling you to pick up a piece of dismembered goblin and move it to a different location.
Sure, and I do that exactly as how he says it.
I would say about, would you say be 10, 15 minutes when the rest of the party rocks up?
Something like that.
Well, another 10, 15 minutes pass in that case, and the rest of you all arrive in the clearing, and you see Chase basically just running around, being ordered about by this large man, this large lizard-like creature, and as he does so, you can see that a small pile of various goblinoid limbs has been made at this point.
I wish to ask Chase, what exactly is he doing?
I'm picking up the meat.
Rather.
He just says to you like that and picks up another piece and moves it to him.
Well, as you move another piece of goblin over to the large lizard man, he picks it up and he again begins hacking away at it, and he stops for a moment to address the rest of you and says, "What are your names?" And then he punches himself in the chest and says, "Scrack!"
CD, nice to meet you.
I am Fight.
I shall point to his pile of dismembered limbs and look up at him with a stern gaze. And I'll say to him, "A good haul there, Grace. Perhaps we should cross blades sometime."
He narrows his eyes at you, Grace, when you say that. And then you can see a large smile begin to appear in his maw. This would be the first time that you see his teeth exposed, and it just seems to go on and on and on. But in either case, a moment later, he just says, "Yes, after the feast."
So,
George.
Let me just get it straight. So 1 second, let me get it straight. Did Kiki just challenge the Florida man personified?
To a duel. It looks like it, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Seems so.
Cool.
And
First,
Yeah,
perhaps it would be rude not to challenge each other at our full strength, of course.
he looks over to you, Bruce, and just stares at you.
Hi, I'm Bruce. Nice feast you got there. Are you going to share that, or are you going to be gobbling all down yourself? And grin.
I stare at Bruce.
You just see as the lizard man stares at you for a moment, and then looks to the other companions, and stares back at you again, and then just says quite matter-of-factly, "Feasts are shared."
And shared they will. We even brought some of our shit.
My tribe will be here soon. They will prepare the food.
Honestly, I've eaten worse than goblin meat.
You know, yeah, I had goblin for breakfast. I'm good. But did you say tribe?
Also, do you happen to know the location of where those bandits were?
As you ask this, he looks up for a moment, seemingly pondering before extending a single muscular finger often towards a particular direction off in the world, off in the forests, and says, "Hole! Found goblin shit! And other things."
CD steps back a bit, and then says, "All right, while you fine gentlemen help him with acquiring goblin meat, I'll be gone in a bit."
You don't think we'll let you alone there with all that loot, do you?
Yeah.
I'll be joining him.
Got camp by himself.
All right, Gregory, come with me. The rest of you, please help him. Well, you wouldn't be useful in collecting goblin meat. Sure.
I have a robot that can also carry stuff, I'll have you know.
I say fine, all right, George, the gunner, come with me. Grace and Bruce, could you please help him a bit? I think we need the help of such a fine specimen.
You see, as roughly halfway through this conversation, you see as the lizard man, now apparently known as Scrack, just continues going through the various corpses. You can see that now that he's finished hacking the legs off of each of them, he seemingly begins going back through the piles again. This time, doing what can best be described as a fillet, if you would, much in the way you would with a fish, except it's on the goblins.
Fillet or goblin?
I just quickly tell him, save the bones. You can make some nice broth with that.
Yes.
And I mentioned to George and Gunnar, come on, let's go. I really need to find this fast.
I know then. So yeah, let's head to their hideout.
I will ask him what exactly it is that he's looking for.
CD, I presume you're asking while walking. CD, while walking, he like without even moving around, he tells you, it's an amulet, a pretty old thing of mine, but still important.
Okay.
Well, whilst the rest of the party goes off to go and gather food, Scrack looks to Grace and says, "You see me, and you want to fight. Why?" And as he finishes saying this, he just picks up one of the raw goblin legs and just bites clean through the femur and just begins chewing.
Looking at his blades, how you said they were like big falchions, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Are they well polished, or are they like rusted, or?
They are the textbook definition of crude. They look
I shall not compliment him on his weaponry.
They look like... It almost looks like somebody has found, like, I don't know, an old car or something off in the forest. Obviously, cars don't exist within this setting, but it looks like somebody's just found something along those lines and has just, like, hacked out roughly sword-shaped plates of metal and just strapped it all together and then sharpened it.
Well, Scrap, you see, we came here hoping to find some bandits. And it would appear as though all of these bandits are not here. And instead we have this pile of goblins.
The bandits are dead. Killed by the ones I killed.
Indeed. And if we came looking for a good scrap with some bandits, and they've been killed by these goblins, and you've killed these goblins, then surely you would make a better fight.
You just see him nod as he takes another bite out of the leg, and he says, "I stole your kill, and now you want honor."
Of course.
I see. And as he says that, he just simply throws the raw leg of goblin to the floor and comes to a stand. And then you see as he walks off over into the distance, you can see as he pulls a falchion out of the ground, the same one that he had launched as a goblin earlier, and begins walking back over to this central area, one in each hand. You can see as he walks that there is a noteworthy thumping of the ground with each step. The sheer amount of weight on him being able to be felt through the relatively soft ground of the forest with... It's surprising just how much heft this creature carries along his body. And as he returns back to the area around which you're all gathered, he just plants both of the falchions in the ground before picking up another one and seemingly producing a stone of some sort out of some pouch he has, begins adding in additional scrapings along the falchion's blade, giving it a sharpen. He looks at you and says, "My blades need sharpened. Will this be a fight to the death?"
Is that what you see? I would be happy with a fight until one can no longer continue, if you wished, since you seem amicable and a good warrior. However, if you wish to stake all of our honor, I would not disagree.
I have taken your hunt, so honor must be repaid. But if you do not wish my head, then I won't take yours. And with that,
First, however,
carry on.
you suggested we break bread. I would not face an enemy unless they are at their full strength.
Yes! First we feast! And at this point, you see he stands up and looks off in a direction, unrelated to the way in which the other members of the party walked off earlier, and you just hear him. You see as he stands up and releases this large, deep bellow, something that sounds entirely animalistic in nature, almost like a howl crossed with... It's like a howl of a wolf, but distorted to sounding like that of a large bovine creature. It's deep bellowing, and you can tell that it will carry on the wind for kilometers potentially. As this takes place, we move on to the looters of the squad. You all hear this deep bellow go off throughout the forest, but it doesn't seem to be directed towards you, at the very least.
Well, Kiki seems to be having... Grace seems to be having fun. CD says.
I sigh and say, yeah, she's a bit more of bronze than brains.
Hmm.
When he told me she was strong, I didn't think he meant suicidal. Those are two different things.
Oh, I doubt that it's suicidal.
Hopefully. I've met my fair share of strong adventurers who were just a bit not strong enough, you know? Would be a shame to see someone of her, someone like her, fall.
I wouldn't bet on it.
You never know. As we reach the end of this conversation,
Cat.
fuck off.
Not your cat.
No, it's actually my cat. No, I'm not letting you in. You threw up yesterday. Anyway, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, we basically reached the area in which the goblins left everything.
Yes. As you begin to make your way further forward, you find that it doesn't take you long into your travel into the forest that before you start picking up on various signs of habitation, various poorly made spring traps for catching unweary rabbits and other signs of people having been in the area.
Do I find one where the rabbit live?
You find a clear example of an area where a rabbit had been caught but managed to gnaw its way out of the trap.
Would have made good food.
But in either case, making your way further
continue
through the
moving forward.
forest.
Yeah.
Making your way further through the forest, you find yourself coming upon a not a clearing, but quite the opposite. Suddenly, the forest seems to gather in its density, with the trees seemingly growing much closer towards each other than in the rest of the forest. And in this area, in this densely packed region, you see, roughly in the center, a large mound that you can tell is clearly some kind of naturally occurring cave or hovel that has been artificially widened. And when peering in, you are immediately struck by one noteworthy aspect, that being the smell. Oh God, the smell. As you peer in, roll me a Constitution saving throw, CD.
Okay, wait.
Only him or all of us?
Well, CD's the one leading the charge and looking into the cave first. So
Constitution, you said, right?
Check. Constitution saving throw, yes.
Saving throw here.
As you peer into the cave, oh Christ, you're just about able to prevent yourself from just immediately vomiting at the stench of the simultaneously rotting corpses and feces that exists within this region. It seems as though whatever has happened here happened a long time ago, and significant amounts of decay have been allowed to fester within this cave.
Wait. I tell Grigori and Gunnar. Oof. Reminds me of Erlenberg. There are a lot of corpses, and nobody took care of them. I tell the gang, if you're gonna come, cover your face.
Are they looted? As in, are their clothes still on? Still like boxes lying around, maybe?
Well, I haven't seen. The smell hit me before I could see anything, really. And as I'm saying that, I light up a torch. Tatui is already going forward into there. Seemingly him being a rat and what's the word? A scavenger animal. He seems alright with the smell.
Whilst it does seem as though your rat is capable of tolerating the smell, you do note that as he peers into the cave, seemingly catches a full whiff of it, he just looks back at you with a face that can best be described as pleading, Chase.
No, we need to get it. Now go. I'll give you some coins if you do.
With a still noteworthy degree of reluctance, you see that he looks into the cave again, and then looks back to you and does a head gesture to say you first.
I have. God damn it, why did I pick you up?
And
I move forward.
Smart rat.
I know. He's just smart enough to not talk.
Well, in either case, I'm going to say roll me a Constitution saving throw again. And the same goes for anybody else who wishes to take part in this looting.
Oh.
Does this smell count as poison?
And
No, this smell doesn't count as poison. This counts as if it was to count as anything for the purposes of overcoming resistances, this would be disease.
Well,
Grigori, as you so much as just stick your head into the opening of the cave to get an idea as to just how bad this is, you are suddenly immediately overcome. You begin to feel faint in the head, and you just about manage to catch yourself from falling into the cave head first, instead stumbling backwards before taking a deep breath in of untainted air. You can tell that you narrowly avoided a much more close encounter with whatever is inside that cave.
Steedy notices that and shouts from the inside, "It doesn't get better."
Gunnar, as you make your way in, your dwarven constitution gives you the opportunity to, use the same muscle groups that you use to hold back your liquor, and you force your way inside, and oh Christ, the smell. It's, to describe it, imagine the smell of a sea fish that has been left out in the sun, had various corrosive agents applied to it like vinegars, and then been mixed with rotten excrement. That is what you smell as you go in, and it is horrific. But as CD makes his way inside with a torch, you are able to find that the smoke of the torch seems to actually be acting as some kind of emergency or rudimentary incense and repressing the smell somewhat, allowing the pair of you to survive whilst conscious. Roll me either an investigation check with advantage from one of you, or each of you roll independently to see what loot you can find.
Shall I do the investigation roll?
If you want to make an investigation roll, you're going to have to subject yourself to the inside of the cave again.
Oh, I thought I was in.
No, you
barely.
You stuck your head in, nearly died on the spot just from the smell itself, and then decided to back out.
Pussy.
Well, I shall help Gunnar.
Okay. All right.
21.
All right. With the pair of you working in tandem, with Gunnar being the one to use his knowledge of how corpses tend to decay and the likely places where you can see people to have stored away the more valuable aspects of their hoard, you're able to quite effectively guide CD's hand and making his way around the more disgusting aspects of the interior of this hovel whilst locating various bits and pieces. CD, you are able to find the very same amulet that you have been searching for this entire time. And in addition, you were able to find a few other bits and pieces. First of all, roll me... let's see, what would be appropriate? Roll me 8d8. That will be the number of gold coins worth of money that you're able to find in direct change.
8d8?
Done it.
Oh,
that's pretty good.
Holy
Jesus.
shit.
Hell yeah.
Well, in either case, you were able to find 49 gold pieces worth of money I'll let you decide whether it's all in gold pieces or if any of it is made up in other forms of currency, whether it be copper, silver, or even platinum pieces.
I ask Gunnar just quickly. Hey, can you spare some silver pieces for Tatooine here? He really wants some cheese, he saw.
You want me to give silver to your rat?
And let him buy. Look, he's smart enough to constitute as a person. Probably smarter than the lizard man we saw.
Look,
so
when we're all together, I can split up the loot evenly. All right?
Fair enough.
All right.
What else do we find?
You also find a variety of old, somewhat haggard-looking equipment. Go ahead and add in somebody get a notepad up on their screen, and I'll just go ahead and describe to you the various pieces of equipment that you find.
All right, I got a notepad.
Yeah, me too.
You found a total of 3 longswords.
Yeah.
You find 2 short swords.
Yep.
You find a halberd.
Dibs.
Yeah.
You find some haggard leather armor that looks like it may require either some restorative chemical treatments or maybe just tossed away entirely. It's not usable in its current state. In addition, you find a few pieces of plate mail, not a full suit, but enough to constitute a half plate suit of armor, which is considered medium armor.
Okay.
And lastly, you find a variety of just semi-valuable knickknacks and other things along those lines. Like, you find a couple of books that have been horribly stained, and one of them has a few missing pages. You find a small sculpture of what looks to be a beautiful robed woman in what appears to be some kind of mid-dance kind
beautiful
of,
what?
A beautiful human woman who appears to be mid-pose during some elaborate dance.
I stare at that and say, they really need that?
Yes.
I'm not talking to you.
I'm not there.
It appears to be made of. It appears to be,
right.
at first glance, made of perhaps either ivory or maybe marble. You're not sure, but in either case, it is made of some very bright white material. And the last noteworthy thing that you find is a small lockbox. It is locked. When you try to open it, it doesn't budge. But you can see that there is a bit of a gunked up. There is a bit of a gunked up lock on the front of it that may need a bit of a clean out before you're actually able to get a lockpicking set in there.
I actually I mentioned to Gunnar, I actually do have thieves' tools on me. If you want it, I can open this.
I also have thieves' tool. But we can.
What a coincidence.
Wow. Everyone has thieves' tools. Bunch of fucking pickpocket bastards, son of a bitches.
Look, I have an excuse, okay?
I channel my magic through my thieves' tools, I'll have you know.
I don't have thieves' tools. I just have.
I don't have thieves' tools.
Yeah, but
The
you're
honourable people here do not have thieves' tools.
I'm perfectly honorable, like I said. I use my magic for it. Nothing else, I swear.
Yes, that is the total selection of stuff that you get that looks reasonable. But
All right.
due to your very high investigation check, there is one last thing that you do find, which initially looks a bit odd. You see, among the various dead bodies within this cave, there is mostly human corpses, but around the well, apparently what was once the neck of what appears to be a goblinoid body, you see what looks like a small skeleton, a small necklace made of various bones. What's noteworthy about this is that you can quite clearly see that the bones hanging from this necklace are those of the femur of a regular humanoid-looking creature. That they look like they should be massive, and yet they're only about 3 inches long each.
I want to
They
roll
are
something.
incredibly miniature.
I
Go
want
ahead.
to roll and see it. What should I roll?
What exactly are you trying to find out?
It seems to be something. How should I say it?
You're trying to find out if it's noteworthy.
Yes, it seems to be something historical.
I would say you can either roll a history check,
Mhm.
or if you would prefer, you can roll an investigation check or an arcana check.
I would like to roll an arcana check. I can do that well.
And though all those three I'm bad at, but I'll roll an investigation check.
I would say between the three of you, I'll let 2 of you make rolls, or one of you can make a roll with advantage.
I'm not there. I'm outside the cave.
He's not there. So okay,
Yeah, but
I'll.
the necklace could be taken outside of the cave for you to
Good
examine.
point. I can do investigation on it.
Sure, we'll wait until that. I tell Gunnar.
Okay.
Maybe George would know about this, and I just take it. Okay, is that all we find?
Yes, that's everything. So if you want to go ahead and post the contents of that list that you just made into the DM chat that we have, just so that people can take a look through and see what the you can have some discussions after the session in order to see what would best be distributed between each of you.
Oh, you wanted? I'll put it in the chat as well.
I'd like to think that George actually wrote this all down, and we just like shouted it at him. We found 3 long swords, 2 short swords, 1 halberd.
Wait. Could you repeat that other bit? It's a bit echoey.
1 halberd. Some
halberd.
You found cornbread?
halberd. The weapon. Long, big.
He keeps saying it wrong. It's amazing.
It's halal bird. Halal bread.
Fuck it.
Hello,
We found
Chase.
halberd.
Hang on, guys. Everybody, I just want to cover this. Chase, say hal.
Hal.
Now, what do you call a feathered creature that flies in the sky?
Bird.
Add those 2
Halberd.
words together.
Halberd.
Correct.
Okay, we found 1 halberd. We found some fucked armor, leather, a bit of plate mail, maybe half plate suit of armor, a shit ton of small knickknacks, some books, a sculpture of a woman. Looks like she's dancing. A small lockbox, we'll open it later. And a necklace made of bones.
I ripped a piece out of my notebook and just write it down.
All right.
Are we getting a hula girl to put on the front of the cart?
Oh yeah.
Outstanding.
Brilliant. So, with all that coming to a close, the rest of the party will soon be meeting up with Grace and Bruce soon enough. Speaking of Grace and Bruce,
Yes?
some time has passed since the last time we were back at what I'm just going to start calling the campsite. In that time, the large lizard man has been continuing to butcher various pieces of meat off of the goblinoid corpses around you. He seems to have done quite a good job of it, in fact, seemingly using his great falchions as gargantuan butcher's cleavers for the purposes of making racks of ribs, steaks, and other pork chops and the like, except obviously they're not pork. In either case, by the time he's finished going through this process, he sits down and looks to the pair of you and says, "Why are you here?" Oh, shit. Hang on. I can't hear you. My earphones just ran out of battery.
Quick.
God damn it.
Quick, say all the bad things about him.
He keeps
that
swapping them the
ginger,
wrong way. That's why all the energy keeps falling out.
He's a ginger.
Yeah.
There we go. I can hear you now.
Yeah.
That ginger
Hello,
is a
we just talked about how
person.
magnificent you are.
Ah, yes, I'm sure you did. I have no doubt of the fact. So, yes. Scrack looks to you and asks, "Why are you two here?" Putting heavy emphasis on the pair of you who are currently in front of him.
Wait,
Those one of those fellows who rushed up into the cave there promised us a good fight and some tasty rewards as well.
That's about right. Really here for the show. Just enjoying my travels and seeing the world. Would you like a drink, Mr. Lizardman?
Of course. How rude! He should join us.
I offer him my flask.
Oh, good God!
He looks at the flask and he looks back at you for a moment and says, "Is this stupid juice?"
This is extremely stupid juice, yes. And I grin.
Just snorts in your direction and hands it back to you, seemingly unamused.
Suit yourself?
He looks back at you as you presumably take a swig and says,
"Yep.
And you a fat thing. It looked like the other one that followed by the metal thing. It was short and fat, and it carried a round thing that contained lots of stupid juice. You would drink it and become stupid.
Uh-huh.
Tried to make me drink it, and once I did, it made me stupid."
Was stupid, not fun.
Florida man does not like drinking.
Okay. When was this? Where was this? Do you say there was a fat man with drink? Is he near here?
Long time ago.
Oh.
Across the water. On a boat.
On a boat? Oh.
Oh, good grief.
I don't know much about boats.
Neither do
Tell
I.
me, Scratch, did you enjoy being stupid?
No!
You didn't? I always find stupid juices fun.
He just looks you clean in the eye and says, "Too stupid."
Hopefully, I come back soon to.
Stupid enough already.
Drink the stupid juice, bigot.
Hey, Goose, something tells me that Scrack here would be really good on a night out.
See,
That's
as
great.
at this moment, he lifts his head into the air and begins sniffing at the wind. See, as he gives in 3 large inhales before exhaling again through his mouth as a great grin comes across his face as he says, "My tribe is close."
Do we arrive now?
Yes, I would say that this is a roughly appropriate time for the rest of the party to arrive back at the campsite.
All right. While I arrive, can I just roll a quick nature check to see if I find any plants and vegetables on the ground that are safe to eat for the feast? You understand?
I don't know about you guys. I don't want to be around when the tribe arrives, but that sounds dangerous. I'm just.
You don't want food.
Theo, if you've got to go soon, then feel free to just drop out when you feel like it. I suspect this is probably going to be going on for another half hour or so.
Oh no, don't have to go.
We're gonna roleplay eating food with with Florida Man personified.
Florida Man and his tribe, yeah.
I believe we have everything we need, so we don't really need to stick around.
The tribe were the ones who were coming to cook the food.
Yeah.
He was just preparing it.
Yes.
He wants us for a feast, and between you and me, I find that making stupid but powerful people angry never goes well.
That's a fair point.
He may not be smart, but he seems honorable.
And powerful enough to
we have both
crack.
We have both agreed.
Just to be clear, are you discussing this in character in front of him?
No.
No. Gunnar is on the way back. He describes that how he got everything he needs, and he doesn't want to stay. And I tell him that Grace is simply like excited and happy.
All right. So, when you all arrive back at the campsite, the 5 of your party together with the great lumbering Scrack sitting on a stone, surrounded by the results of his butchering.
Did I grab the vegetables?
Go ahead and just roll a survival check.
Survival check, okay.
I was about to say the number that you get will determine the number of random various vegetables you happen to pick up, which is apparently 24. Quite the haul.
Nice.
You managed to gather this many equivalents of various pieces of root vegetables like wild carrots and the like, just as you make your way back through the forest. By the time you arrive back at the campsite, you pretty much filled up your pack with various.
Yeah, Tatooine has to ride on my head.
I have to go. See you guys next week.
Goodbye.
All right, see you, Theo.
See you, Theo.
So, as you arrive back at the campsite, Scrack looks to the 3 returning members of the party and calls over to you with a hearty grin. And once you get a bit closer, says, "Soon, my tribe will be here. We can feast upon the flesh and be ready for a fight."
Nice.
Who will be fighting here exactly?
Wait, no, I don't know that. Sorry.
He points towards Grace and says, "That one and I."
Oh, well, that's fine then.
And As he does that, simultaneously, I shall point to him and say, Scrack here, and I.
Oh, good God. She's already drunk.
He just smiles in your direction, Grace.
Oh no.
I just I look at Groose and then say, Groose didn't offer you anything to drink, yeah?
I offered him. He said no.
I do not drink the stupid juice.
You're smarter than many people.
That is why I am the leader of my tribe.
Out of character. Your name is DeSantis? I didn't know. Okay, in character. Fair enough. I brought some nature's bounty to prepare with the food. It's gonna taste heavenly, I assure you.
As you reveal the contents of your pack, and he looks over, he nods approvingly and says, "You and the cook will get along well."
Thank you. I just
I would say around this moment, you all hear what's best described as a small horn that you see. Well, not see. You hear the horn toot off in the distance, roughly in the direction that Scrack bellowed in before. And I'd like each of you to give me perception checks. Obviously, Theo not being included since he has now gone.
A perception check.
Grigori is distracted with something. He's thinking about either his mission, or his family, or whatever his character is.
Or perhaps he's just contemplating the sheer stench that he just had to deal with earlier.
I'm rolling well today for some reason.
I'm not.
There you are. And Gruce really isn't.
He's already drunk.
God, Trig, you have been rolling absolute shit all day, haven't you?
I have rolled very, very badly. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna knock one of the pints of wine from my flask, just to represent that.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
See, this is what happens when you only drink water.
So, as Grace and CD, Gunnar and Gruce all look off in various directions, only CD and Grace are actually able to spot the source of the incoming noise. You see off in the distance, on the opposite side of the clearing, just about breaching out of the forest, a unexpected sight. You were expecting a variety of large, muscular lizard men, all marching out in unison with various pieces of equipment, packs, perhaps carrying a large kill or two, making their way in your direction. But no, instead you see what can best be described as midgets. There appears, at the very least through the steely eye of CD, to be a group of what can best be described as 3-foot-tall dragonborn, all with roughly pinkish to beigeish scales, marching out in relatively well-maintained single file. One of them with an almost comically large pack saddled over its back, and the rest carrying a variety of both spears, swords, and arrows, and bows and arrows, all making their way in your direction. The tallest of these creatures is 3.5 feet at best, with the majority of them being around 3 foot tall. In either case, their numbers are 5, including the one with the massive pack on its back. As they all begin to make their way over, you see as Scrack stands up and begins to beckon them over and gives out another one of those deep bellowing howls that he did earlier. And as he does so, you see the various tiny little creatures begin sprinting over at a much accelerated pace, except for the one with the massive pack on its back. In either case, as Skrak finishes off his bellow, he looks back at the rest of you and says, "My tribe is here!"
Strange company you keep, Skrak. Where did you meet these fellows?
Well, before he responds, I would say, yeah, all of you would be familiar enough with the local wildlife of Yesrallaw to be familiar with the fact that kobolds are a race of small and diminutive lizard-like creature who tend to gather around in large tribes, worshipping either dragons or large lizard-like entities. They tend to concentrate themselves mostly into cave areas where the relatively excellent nighttime skills and dark vision gives them the advantage in overwhelming potentially larger foes. And to those who are especially well educated would quickly put the 2 and 2 together of it appears as though these dragon worshipping kobolds have mistaken the unusually large lizard man for an object of worship. In either case, as they begin to approach, you very rapidly see that all of them are apparently very happy to be here, and none of them are even apparently addressing the fact that you are all just casually hanging out with their leader. You see as one of the kobolds arrives and looks over and begins gathering around Skrak, with Skrak handing out each of them pieces of severed goblin to gnaw on. One of the goblins runs over to... I'd say... Did I say goblin? I meant kobold. One of the kobolds runs over to Gunnar's construct, and just begins marveling at it and just staring up at this mechanical entity, jaw dropped as low as it can go, with a very childlike aspect of wonder. And after a few moments of shocked silence, it just looks over and says to the rest of the people, "What's this?"
I'm just standing here next to it. Just I put myself between the robot and the kobolds, thinking these boys better not touch anything.
I hate kobolds. I think to myself.
Are you a dwarf?
Yes, I am a dwarf.
We met a dwarf one time and he had lots of stupid jokes.
How?
Snort.
Listen here, stupid juice is a fine delicacy.
Oh, well, Skrak doesn't like stupid juice, but I think it's pretty nice. Hey, Skrak, come over here. And you see another one of the kobolds just quickly runs over and looks over and says, "Oh, what do you want?" "Oh my God, is that a robot?"
I continue laughing.
And just begin once again gawking at your automaton silently. They're just stood there, silent. Skrak, seeing this, shouts over and says, "Leave that alone. It's dangerous, could kill you." And then
he is right about that.
Kind of, you see the pair of them just kind of suddenly look a bit cowardly and begin backing away from your automaton before you see the final of the kobolds, the one with the massive pack. It finally makes its way over and It doesn't really particularly sit on anything, but just kind of falls to the ground, letting its pack just impact the ground. You can see that this is a large leather sack that itself is probably somewhere in the realm of 4 feet tall, with apparently almost all of the tribes. With apparently almost all of the tribe's equipment apparently being shoved into onto the shoulders of this one individual. As it sits down and wipes some sweat off of its brow, it just sits back, looks at the rest of the party, and just gives a wave and says, "Hi, I'm the cook."
I approach that one. You're the cook, eh?
Hi,
come
I'm
on.
the cook.
Come on, we have a lot of work.
Can't I have a rest? I've been walking for so long.
Just get the plates out. I'll do the rest.
Okay.
Do you have
Feel free
spices,
to just
though?
open it up. I'm just gonna sit here for a bit. Ah.
Do you have spices? I say, inspecting the back.
They're in there somewhere.
And hopefully you
And,
have enough. I take it out and I just prepare cooking.
As you begin rummaging around, you see that not only is this pack been very efficiently packed in with various utensils that mostly just consist of serrated knives being loaded into various pouches, and a few what appears to be large flat stones, which probably either plates or maybe something to cook off of. You're not entirely sure. But in either case, it appears as though that there seems to be equivalents to many efficient means of both cooking and also preparing and eating food, just all recreated in somewhat shoddy looking and very well used stoneware.
Well, I'm well used for stones and other stuff in cooking and whatnot. So I'm surprised, but it doesn't faze me that much.
Well, one of the kobolds runs over to Grace and says, "Wow, you're big. Is that is that a sword?
Of course.
Can I see it?"
I'll draw the longsword and show it to the goblin.
Oh, this is a kobold. But
Kobold.
he takes it in his
goblin.
hands. And he takes it in his hands, and as soon as you let go of it, it just kind of overwhelms him and falls to the ground with a bit of a tink. And he looks at it and says, "Wow, that's so big. I don't think I could
Careful.
use this."
It's sharp too.
Yeah. Wow. Why is it so shiny? Is it made of silver?
Oh no, you have to keep a weapon clean. It would be dishonorable to your opponent to cut them with a rusted blade.
Oh. Oh yeah, Scrack talks about honor and stuff. Are you Scrack's friend?
Why, of course,
I've never
we
seen
intend
you
to
before.
we intend to duel tonight.
Oh, then you must be his best friend. Here you go. And he desperately, you can see he's desperately trying to lift the sword up by the handle. He's trying to pick it up off the ground, and he can just about lift it up above his head in order to get it to it's kind of like tipped down and vertical, but he's struggling to keep it there.
I shall take some of the weight so that he appears stronger than he is in it, and sheath the blade because he's making an effort.
Well, he gives a bit of an exasperated pant after you help him pick the blade up, but afterwards he looks quite pleased with himself. and says, I'm going to go eat some food now. It looks like Scrack's been very busy killing goblins. I'll be back in a bit. Bye. Oh, by the way, my name's Scrock.
Scrock, pleasure to meet you.
Just wanders off with a very happy wave and just picks up what appears to be the forearm of a goblin and just starts chewing into it. A moment after this, you can see as the cook, who is now sat down in a exasperated manner, pulls out a pair of what appear to be some kind of metal cooking instrument. It's kind of halfway between a ladle and a fork, and starts banging it against what is apparently the only metal piece of cookware within her entire pack, and starts shouting, "Okay, everybody, I'm going to get the big pot out now, and then we're going to put all the meat in there, and we're going to have a big stew, okay?"
I just say, just leave this corpse alone, yeah? I want to make something special with it.
Okay, nobody touch that one over there. Apparently the Humi's got to get something done with it.
Come here.
Just stares over. They named themselves after me.
You can just.
He points at one of them. He points at one of them and says, "Skrick." Points at another one and says, "Scrock." Points at another one and says, "Scrack." Points at the cook and says, "That one's called the cook." And then points into the sky and says, "We lost Scrack."
You lost him? Where did you lose him? Seems rather careless.
He broke.
Ooh.
And at this, the cook chimes up and says, there was one of those people that uses magic. Big cold thing happened and he froze the bone. He kind of exploded. It was pretty sad.
Damn. Chilling.
Yeah, it was.
I will offer the cook some stupid juice.
Okay,
if you would like it.
Let me just tell Grigori about what's happened.
The cook takes the flask, seemingly recognizing it, unscrews the top, gives it a sniff and says, "Oh, this is good," and just starts swigging. Seemingly gets through maybe half a pint before stopping, and then says, "Thank you. I needed that. Oh, that's a long walk, you know."
Let me just Grigori, what happened? We met the tribe of Skrak. They're apparently kobolds instead of actual lizard men.
Yep.
And they're absolutely adorable. They named themselves after him. And the cook is now going to be my best friend.
Seems so.
I don't trust kobolds.
Well, they all begin to gather around, and you can see that one of them walks over to a small pile of wood and just screeches out, "We're going to need more wood!" And then a couple of others just quickly do a small, half-arsed kind of attempt at a military salute. You know, you can tell the spirit's there, but they didn't quite get the message right at some point, and they just run off into the forest, and 10 or 15 minutes later, you can see that the pair of them are just carrying two large bundles of various pieces of wood, and just will plonk it down into the middle. You can see one of the kobolds, the one that Skrock pointed out as being called Skrock, walks over, and you can tell that he's apparently attempting to maybe hack up a fur ball or something. And then you can just hear the cook shout, "Skrock, you can't speak fire. That's what the Dragonborn do. We're not them." And you see Skrock just look very dejected. He just walks off and sits by the corner. The cook, in a now apparently mildly drunken stupor, begins to meander her way over to the rest of the firewood and pulls out what appears to be a flint and steel and begins attempting to light the flames, but is doing a very poor job of it.
I'll go over and assist in making a fire.
I assume you just take the flint and steel out of the cook's hands and just basically do the job.
I have my own.
Right. Okay. Well, in that case, she would look at you with a very big grin and a nod, and then just kind of turn around and go sit back on a rock again before calling out, "Ah, are you over there?" She says, pointing over at Siri. "I'm too tired and too drunk to do cooking. Could you do it? Thank you, bye." And then just lies down.
Why did you give her the stupid shoes? God fucking damn it. Fine, I'll do the cooking. I'd rather eat something tonight. I prepare most of the meat as stew and leave out the corpse into small little pieces. I bring about a small pot, fill it with a bit of water, put the other corpse in and some cut up vegetables, and I put in a special mix of spices. Like there's the normal stew and there's this special stew, quote unquote. What should I roll? Or should I roll nothing?
Well, there's only one large pot that apparently took up the majority of the internal volume of the pack. You would guess that the pot is it's got a decent size to it. And when you realise that there isn't any easy source of water in the area, you can see as the cook, she just kind of looks at you for a moment and then says, "Get the water rock."
I mean, I could have just casted create water, but okay.
"Oh, you're one of those. Okay, go ahead." And then just seemingly falls asleep again.
I'm going to offer my flask to another competent-looking kobold at random.
Don't. I see you. No. Don't.
What? Don't incapacitate all of them with booze?
As you walk over to one of the kobolds, just kind of, you can see that he's just kind of minding his own business, just sitting there on a small log, chewing away at what appears to be maybe the hand of a goblin, but you're not sure at this point. And as you walk over, he just kind of looks up at you and goes, "Huh?"
All right, friend, how's it going? Do you like stupid juice? I enjoy stupid juice.
"I think stupid juice is funnier when other people drink it, but I think it can be quite nice sometimes."
Well, if you want to give this a go.
Okay. See, he thinks. I assume you hand him the magical flask.
I do.
He takes it and looks at it and says, "There's not much in here. How much can I have?"
Oh, check your fill, mate. There's more than you realise.
"Oh, okay." And he unscrews the top and begins to drink some down, and you can see he gets through a good couple of mouthfuls before stopping and going, "I should probably stop here. I don't want Scratchy to get angry at me. Here you go, thank you."
My pleasure, mate.
I see this, and I just start mumbling to myself, Sheedy, get drunk around us. It will be safe. Oh, Sheedy, come on, help a little bit more. Oh, come on, Sheedy. Just grumbling.
At
They
this point,
wonder
by the
why.
way, the sun's actually starting to set. It is a decent deal of the day has been gotten through, and at this point, you're thinking that either you're going to have to establish a camp that is very close to this place, or you're going to have to actually camp with the tribe.
How many is the tribe, brother, again?
There are 5.
There's a total of 5. 6 if you include Scratch.
5, 6 if you include, and 2 of them are now
drunk.
Quite drunk.
Quite drunk. So only 3 more. Okay.
Don't. I see that glint in your eyes. Don't.
Aw.
And also, how much? What do you have in that flask of yours? Even for small things like that, they should be knocked unconscious.
What he's got in that flask is a good time, judging by last night, eh, Grease?
Indeed.
The
Nod.
last
Wave my
kobold that
flask.
you gave, by the way, took a significantly smaller amount compared to the cook.
Okay. Okay.
You can tell that one had enough to quench its thirst, but not enough to actually become drunk.
Okay.
Yeah, but still use this. I don't need a kobold that's stumbling around to help me cook. I need an actual one. I grab... which one of the kobolds looks the smartest between them?
Honestly, they all look about as dim as each other.
Okay.
The only noteworthy thing about the 4 remaining kobolds is that 2 of them look very similar to each other.
Okay.
Same overall feathers across the head, same look of the same kind of mottled skin tones and such. You get the impression that those 2 are probably like brood brothers.
Okay, I look at the kobold that's farthest away from Bruce, and I say, "You come with me. No stupid juice. You get it later."
Okay. And you just see one of the kobolds just wanders over and says, "What you need, boss?"
I need you to help me do this and do that. I just mentioned to him simple tasks that he can't screw up, like cutting vegetables or
okay.
Stuff.
You see, he just looks over to the cook and says, "Cook, there's some cooking that he's doing." And you just see that the cook just raises a middle finger in response.
I'm just gonna sit down, lean towards my robot, and just start filling up my pipe and just smoking a bit.
This entire scenario, by the way, is best described as utterly chaotic. The kobolds are just they're literally just a bunch of children just running around, gawking at the robot, gawking at Grace's armor, gawking at Gruce's grueseness.
Except the one that's next to me, because
any of them that come near me will be given a drink, or at least offered a drink, and encouraged to drink their fill.
Listen,
I would say that a few of them go to take it and then glance at Scrack and then pretend to scratch their head instead.
Fair enough.
But you do over time notice that a few of them are quite happy to drink, and over the course of the next hour or so, by the time the sun has completely set, you have successfully inebriated all 5.
No, wait. One of them was with me, okay? Come on, give me that one. I need some help with the kitchen, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, okay. We'll say that CD's capable of keeping one of them distracted enough with various chores. By the way, you'll also notice that it seems as though that the kobolds, they are very distinctly good at taking orders. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you tell them to do. They'll pretty much just go, "Yeah, okay," and just do whatever you tell them.
Thank God, at least one of them is there. with me.
And this applies to all of them until they start drinking booze.
That's why I kept one of them distracted. And they wonder why. Oh, why don't you get drunk with other people? It's because of these assholes. One day you're drinking. What's one more drink? The next day you find yourself in your underwear outside with a rat pawing at you, trying to wake you up. No, thank you.
By the way, Bruce, after a few hours of after about an hour and a half, after you've gotten 4 out of the 5 kobolds drunk, only failing on the final one due to CD's influences, you see after a little while of you standing there at the side of the camp, just admiring yourself and your handiwork, you see is the great intimidating Scrack, lit up by firelight, is just simply staring in your direction. And you can tell from the expression on his face that he doesn't seem terribly pleased.
I'll grin and wave to him. Great party we're having here, isn't it?
When you wave and say that, he doesn't respond. He just uses his hand to gesture you to come over to him.
I just say, quickly, please don't kill him. He's stupid juice. A lot of it.
Who are you saying that to?
Scrack.
Scrack. Okay. I'll go over and speak to him. He's my buddy after all. He's got good friends.
I'm just cooking and with a scowl on my face.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you come over to him, he looks you up and down, and then he basically just kind of squats down a little bit so that the good 1.5 foot worth of height difference between you and him is matched. And then he just looks at you clean in the face and says, "What is your plan?"
My plan is to have a fun and enjoyable evening with yourself and your friends, sir. If you like, I will play you a tune, and we can have a dance in a bit after the feast. I'll take my banjo off my back and demonstrate that I can play a little ditty with it.
Yeah, as you begin strumming away on the banjo, you can see he continues to stare at you judgmentally before he reaches around into one of the pouches on his left side and pulls out something that you were definitely not expecting. A flute.
Awesome.
But he doesn't put it to his lips. Instead, he just simply lifts the flute up in an open palm and then slowly lifts his hand away, and the flute just magically hovers there in place and begins playing itself, perfectly in tune with the banjo music that you yourself are playing.
Wow! That is cool.
I was so terrified you were going to say he puts it to his backside.
Same.
And then it was just going to be not a dragon, but a lizard man clapping loudly into a flute.
To be fair, that's the kind of thing I would have expected one of the kobolds to do, but no, Scrax, nowhere near good-spirited enough to do that.
I'm gonna look on in absolute awe and go, that is a fantastic, and carry on playing. So not just test the flute, but to, play good music, essentially.
As the party apparently begins to get into full swing, you notice that one of the kobolds stumbles over to you, in drunken stupor, and says, "You see that? That is very important to Scrack, because Scrack had a brother called Garho. And Garho was amazing. He was really smart. He always knew what to do, and he was a really good guy. And that was his favourite fruit. But he died. He got killed because a goblin stabbed him too many times, and he didn't get up again. And, well, it's the last thing. It's the last thing that we have of us." And just begins crying, sobbing, uncontrollable.
Damn. I'm going to. I was going to say I'm pretty useless at perception and stuff like that. There's probably no point in me trying to work out what the flute is, other than it's just a really, really cool, amazing magic flute, and I'm really, really impressed by it, and I'm enjoying. We're just going to carry on doing a performance check to just generally see how good a show I can put on.
I would say roll a performance check with advantage, since you're technically being aided by the magical flute. And secondly, I would say roll a Arcana check, just to see.
Can I also roll an Arcana check? Since I'm listening
go for it.
to it.
I'm not brilliant there, but not terrible on the performance, I guess.
No, you got a 17 on your performance.
Ginger, by the way, you remember the Bandit song I showed it to you earlier in the day?
No, that isn't what they're playing, Jason.
Nah, it fits so well in here, though. God damn it. Okay, fine.
I would say that since Trig is the one that is doing the leading role in this piece, if he wants to find a piece of appropriate music to plot through the rhythm bot, then he can.
Oh,
but
God.
Otherwise,
no. Somebody else pick something. My taste in music. No.
Bandit Radio, Bandit Radio. Oh, God damn it!
I don't know music very well. I am not a musical person.
Okay, listen. We can make an excuse of putting electro if Gunnar uses his electro lute.
by the way, I think, unless there's anything else that anybody wants to cover, we'll be bringing an end to the session soon. So that being said, Bruce, your Arcana check on the loot. You're not really able to get much out of it, but
sure,
you do know that it is theoretically possible to enchant musical instruments, although you've never seen one enchanted in this specific way before. You would, however, note that it appears as though the flute that you're looking at looks somewhat reminiscent of some of the musical instruments that you would have seen in the various years that you were in your monastery. You would recognize it as being of Dragonborn design.
Okay. And I'm assuming kind of valuable.
Yeah, you would estimate it to be worth probably somewhere in the realm of 70 to 80 gold.
Okay. Cool. What was his name again? Scratch, or that head guy?
Yeah, Scrack.
I'm going to comment, and I'm going to basically compliment him on his amazing flute that he has there, and tell him that he has something incredibly special, and I'm deeply impressed and was not expecting such a a great instrument to be had, and I hope everyone's enjoying the music.
Well, when you compliment him on the flute, he just looks back at you and says, "This is of Carl, my brother." And he just kind of almost wistfully looks at the flute playing. Was in either case, the Chase, go ahead and give me a survival check to determine how you are in the preparing of the various foodstuffs for the night.
Okay, and by the way, before I even do that, just in case, I use the medallion of the forest, the magical item that you gave me, in order to make sure that I don't fuck this up.
All right.
I didn't fuck this up. 22.
Brilliant.
Fair.
So, it seems as though, with the occasional bit of guidance from the cook, who has seemingly existed in this in a kind of semi-conscious state for the majority of the night, occasionally just giving out pieces of advice, apparently operating entirely on her sense of smell as to whether or not Chase is doing a good job. CD ends up producing not only a very well-seasoned kind of broth-styled stew that ends up coming together quite nicely. But in addition to that, he's also able to gather some twigs and sticks from around the forest, and using a small knife is able to create what is, for all intents and purposes, kebabs out of various strips of goblin meat.
Yeah, anything too small. I basically say, well, everything is in the stew, some in my special stew, anything too small is on the kebab. Anyone want some?
Oh my god, goblin kebabs. Do they have baby hands?
Let me check.
Goblins definitely have baby hands.
Cool, because my tummy has the rumblings that only hands can satisfy.
The normal stew is like, your average looking stew, with it being yellow with bits and pieces of meat and vegetables being in there. The special CD stew is done on its own pot, but when you open it, it hits you with this exotic smell, with it looking absolutely red, like blood red. And the kebabs are on the side, made on the heat of the dying fire. So, anyone wants anything?
So those of you apprehensive about the prospect of eating goblin, I recommend that at least one of you give it a try.
Oh, no. I am absolutely tucking in on this goblin.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Why not?
It tastes like chicken, if I remember correctly.
And if he's not there already, I'm beckoning Scrock over to, get in there.
Oh, yeah, Scrock is absolutely going for it. He basically pulls out this own bowl that he has on his own person and just uses it as a kind of simultaneous label, bowl, and cup all at the same time for all purposes, and just uses it to just drink down large quantities of the stew, in addition to also grabbing several of the kebabs and just going in on it.
How does the goblin meat taste in this world? Because, multiple.
The goblin, it's not the best meat that you've ever had. It seems to have an unfortunate tendency to have lots of stringy bits of sinew running through the muscle. And as a result, there are times when you, for example, you bite into a piece of the kebab, and then after chewing it for a bit, you kind of have to reach into your own mouth to pull a piece of string out that was laden throughout the meat.
Oh,
But
that's never enough.
the flavor, however, is something else entirely. It has an almost pork-like flavor to it, a very salty and savory flavor that basically means that whilst the kebabs themselves are certainly fun enough for the purposes of chewing gum, the real kick is on the stew itself, with the stew having this incredibly intense umami kick to it that is actually quite shockingly good.
Ooh, mommy!
And when I see Scrack eating at the stew, like enjoying it, I ask him if he enjoys it. Is it good?
He just looks at you for a moment and with a look of mild ridicule and just says, "I wouldn't be drinking it if it was bad."
Well, how about you try my own special stew? And I open up the cover for the smaller pot. It's mine, actually. But it has, as I said, deep red color.
So what have you done to change the stew?
Oh, it's actually, I ate that IRL. My uncle made it for me. It's using, it's not actually red with blood, though it could be in this scenario. He basically used a lot of red spices. I don't remember what it's actually called, but when we ate it, it almost tasted sweet, I guess, but it was really fucking tasty.
Your uncle probably used a lot of saffron. That has a lot of ability to impart red color onto food.
Yeah, he probably used saffron.
Luckily, saffron is a herb that would likely be carried by the cook, albeit in small quantities. But in either case, the Scrack does come over and he looks into the stew pot and he uses his bowl to only take about half a bowl of it because you can see that there's not much to go around. He's courteous that way, and he does take a hearty drink out of it and looks at you and says, "This is also good."
Thank you.
And then goes back to drinking his fill of the main pot.
He didn't like mine more. Oh well. Anyway.
All right, yes. See you later. I'll be there
Goodbye,
on time. No need to worry. But yes, I'd say unless there's anything else anybody would like to cover before we head off, the next session will start off with the party having camped within the vicinity of Scrack and his tribe, with a duel being the first order of the morning.
I sleep with a kobold or two in my, in my grasp.
Are we sleeping, or are we not just setting up camp and then preparing for the duel?
No, the duel is tomorrow in the morning at sunrise.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And yes, the kobolds would not only be perfectly happy to basically just use you as a bed, but in doing so, they would, for all intents and purposes, just kind of, they just use you as a mattress, basically, see? And they would do the same to anybody else that doesn't actively tell them to fuck off.
I basically use them as a blanket as well, and with my rat acting as my, eye covers.
All right, that's quite the scene.
Yes, it's adorable. I know.
Just a human covered in kobolds with a rat on their face. Amazing.
I actively invite them on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah, it's quite a visual image, isn't it? Mental image.
It's quite a dichotomy, isn't it? We're all like drunk and well rested, having all like sat and feasted together and gotten to know each other, ready and waiting for the morning where one person's head will certainly fly.
That's how tribal warrior life goes.
Oh,
It
at
is
least
so
the kobolds will
civilized.
have a hangover.
All but one of them almost certainly will have a hangover of some sort.
Excellent.
These are creatures that do not often gain access to alcohol.
And they're quite weak against it.
They don't have much in the way of resistances.
Anyway, yeah, that's the end of the scene.
Cool.
Yes.
You know
I am officially calling an end to the session here, unless anybody has any objections. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
No,
I object. I'm having fun.
Wait, I
Okay.
didn't get to use the N-word pass. No!
Yeah, we
I'm
didn't
joking.
even